You do not know a goddamn thing about Africa. I am from Detroit, Motown.
Ignition sequence start.
Yeah. Bruh. We back. Y'all already know what time it is. Come on now.
Hello.
Yeah. Of course, I'm your boy, AdrianakaAd.
I'm Stubbs. How y'all doing?
And you know what this is. This is another episode of
The TakeOff Podcast.
We couldn't wait to do this one. We got some special guests in the house. You want to introduce them?
Yes, I'll introduce them. First, no, you already introduced yourself, right? So we got Stealth and we have Enkara. Would you like to say anything about yourselves?
Well, starting with Enkara.
I'm Enkara.
Make sure y'all speak into the mic too, if y'all don't mind.
I'm Enkara. I run Enkara Ministries. Enkara is a Mesopotamian word for secret weapon.
I never knew that.
Mm-hmm. And I am Stealth of Stealth Ministries. And of course, most people know what stealth means.
All right. We want to welcome you two to the show. Welcome.
Thank you.
Claps and claps.
Thank you. You know, we've been knowing each other for a long time now, and I'm glad finally we was able to, have you here to express your thoughts on a whole bunch of things. I want to ask you, how long have you two been, in business? Well, not necessarily in business, but, focusing on your craft?
Well, she just joined the task in 2020 over at the Nation of the Creator. And since she's joined, we decided to join forces, according to Morestealth Consulting, to start helping people with legal issues. So we've been pretty much bouncing off each other's mindsets for the last 4 years.
Okay. And when did you both find your calling for what you currently do? Different way to answer the same question.
So you want to answer that one first?
It's crazy. I sing.
You can move the mic closer, Tiffy, if you need to. Yeah.
Thank you. So it's crazy because I sing.
Okay.
And so back in the 90s, when I was leaving high school, I told my mom I wanted to be a defense attorney, criminal defense attorney. And she looked at me and said, no, you should be an opera singer. And so I started to sing, and I did a few things, and then got taken advantage of because I didn't know the law.
Contracts or the law?
All of the above.
Okay.
And so that's what started me on my way, 97, 98. That's how long I've been doing this.
Okay, so ever since then, you just start deep diving into the law and how not to get bamboozled anymore.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Yep, and as for me, it started with a child support case for me. I was dealing with a big-time child support case in the state of Michigan, and next thing I knew, I learned the law. And then I also decided to go back to get a paralegal degree to have a better understanding of how to perform documental tasks. Mm-hmm. Right? So that's how I got started.
Now, when you learn the law, is it different from when you perceive it, from what you perceive it to be?
Oh, yes, definitely. So, a lot of us know what the Constitution is, but a lot of us don't read the Constitution and define the words. So when I first learned the Constitution, of course, I was in middle school, high school. I thought that, the rights applied to certain individuals. And then I found out as I studied the law that it was something totally different.
And what, I'm glad you brought that up because, like you said, we know what it is, but we don't know what's in it. What are some of the main things in the Constitution that people overlook or don't have a brief understanding of what it may be?
One thing is the difference between what arms are and weapons, pistols, and guns. Right?
They're all the same to several people, though. So
to several people they are, but according to the definition of those terms, they are totally different. For instance, weapons, according to Black's Law Dictionary First Edition, means a piece of paper. Arms mean something that a man carries to defend himself, right?
Okay.
And not only carry, but wear, as you wear a shirt. So anything can be considered an arm according to Black's Law Dictionary First Edition.
And why Black's Law Dictionary? Why not just a regular Bouvier or any other type of dictionary?
So you have a mathematic dictionary, you have a legal dictionary, you have a scientific dictionary. So keeping in mind that every word that you use has more than one meaning because it has more than one purpose. So the words that we use are not legalese, but the words that you're using in court, those are legalese. Completely different meaning. Same spelling most of the time, same pronunciation.
And then is that the main reason why we keep getting caught up in the court, because we're entering contracts we have no idea that we're entering into?
That's all right.
What's it called? Adhesion contract, I think. When you
Well,
don't.
adhesion contract is a little different. So adhesion contract is basically, I'll give you a summation, right? I have a whole bunch of land and you want that land, but you don't have a lot of money. Sounds like when you're buying a house, right? So now adhesion contract means you don't have any bargaining power. So you get what I give you in this contract and that's it. There's no rights, there's no nothing. That's an adhesion contract. So most of the time when you are doing consumer anything, especially when it deals with major purchase items, those are adhesion contracts, especially.
I thought adhesion was when, like, say driver's license, for instance, you apply for driver's license, but it comes with other things. Same like a ballot. You may vote no on number 5, but it came with other stipulations that you were unaware of.
So that's
how's that
actually the
different?
same. So here's why. You want to drive. There's no such thing as that, but you don't know that because of the definition. What you're really doing is traveling. So now in Black's Law Dictionary, it also says that a license is something that's used to make something legal that would otherwise be illegal. It was never illegal for you to travel, but it might be illegal for you to drive.
So
And since you don't have anything to bargain with, then you have to take what they give you, which is the driver's license and everything that it comes with.
Now, Carl, I got another question since you touched on that. Since we can travel, so does that basically mean that the roads are owned by us?
If you ever paid taxes at all, even though you didn't want to, you are an owner.
There we go.
even is there a statute of limitation for that? Like, what if I paid taxes with my very first check when I was 18? After that, never again.
Everything is fraud, so there is no statute of limitations on fraud. Let me repeat. Everything is fraud, and there is never a statute of limitations on fraud.
Okay, just had to ask. Now, you did say, I don't want this to truly be an occult question, but would you say words are spells since they have different meanings?
Agreed. Right? So since you're talking about taxes, you've been paying taxes your whole life.
Yes.
I mean, from infancy until now.
How could you say from infancy?
So there's this little document that they call a certificate of live birth, right? The certificate of live birth is raised by a county, where we think that it's raised by your parents. Your parents have nothing to do with raising the certificate of live birth. The parent is actually not a thing. It's not a person. It's not your true mother. It's another defined issue, right? So the child being an issue as well, according to tax rules, is taxed, right? So those would be more complicated definitions and things to get into. But once you understand that you've always been a tax issue, you will know that you have been paying taxes from infancy. And that means at birth.
Which is illegal, right?
Which is absolutely illegal because you were of incompetent mindset.
So how this type of knowledge, how did you both come about finding out about it? Did somebody had to tell you, or as you said, you were studying for a child support case or something along those lines, and did you stumble upon it, or did somebody guide you in the right direction?
So we actually already knew this stuff, if that makes any sense.
Like Akashic Records, or what are we talking about?
So let's say you wake up one morning, you say, something's wrong. And I can't quite put my hand or finger on it, but something is wrong with this system.
Yes.
Right? And you wake up and you have this premonition that what is missing? Something's missing. Now, outside of the second part of the question you just asked, yes, it took study and diligent study. I mean, this thing has been a 20-plus year study for myself, and I'm more than certain for her as well. And I'm actually want to know, how did she come about this information?
Well, her turn.
So it's so funny because, again, wanted to get into music. So I have literally luggages full of notebooks, wrote stuff, performed with people. I ended up doing somebody's hair, gonna keep these names out of it. And her husband comes in and goes, I heard singing. Long story short, I wrote a song off the top of my head. That album was released. Then it became a song on a 5-island Japanese tour. Then I did an Adidas commercial, a global Adidas commercial. And I'm looking at the contract. I don't know what I'm looking at. But I know out of all the work that I did and the creation that I did, not that other person, they published it under their publishing. I got $500
For your mechanical rights, for everything you.
for everything. Me singing, me writing, me, and I had that piece of music before. So,
But did you have it copywritten anywhere to prove?
again, that's where. So I originally wrote the song in high school.
Yes.
Did not know anything about copywriting. Thought all that stuff happened once you start putting your stuff out there. Did not know. So by 98 to 99, when I tell you I'm looking through everything, I'm looking through everything. By 2005 and 2006, when these things are released in 2007, when I go back and I start getting royalties, I was like, you know what? Something's wrong. Something's really wrong. And so when I started looking at publishing rights, BMI, ASCAP, and looking at how all this stuff actually goes, you'd be surprised at the things that you found. I was also lucky enough in my time in high school to be around somebody here in the city that we used to call a heavy hitter. His name was Morella. He worked his own company selling women's hosiery called Mo's or Morella's Legs. He was the first individual that I ran into that I saw him telling officers what they could do and where to go and where to put it. And they were like, this your car? Man, it's my car, so-and-so, so-and-so. And I'm like, oh, you can't talk to these people like that. And then they turn around and they get out of there. And I'm like, what? What? What?
And actually, Morelli was the second person that I met that taught this stuff.
Morelli. And is he still around?
No, he's not.
Oh, sorry.
Oh,
No, he went to the Hall of Elders many years ago.
Okay.
well,
Yeah.
And as far as the Akashic Records, we all have access to the Akashic Records.
We do.
That's right.
Right? So it's not, this is something for the elite. No, it's not. Anybody that wants to tap in and you're serious about it, they'll allow you access.
now let me ask you this: do you think the reason why, the masses haven't been educated on what we're talking about? Do you think one of the reasons why they don't want to educate you, not because they don't want you to know, but put fear in you to realize what's really going on?
Oh, what's fear? I guess that's what we have to describe first.
Another definition?
It's another
Is it
definition.
would that be in the Black's Law?
Maybe not.
Maybe not. Okay.
More of an acronym for where we got started. Fear is false evidence appearing real.
Yes.
Right?
Yep.
So if you look at it as an acronym, it's something that is not true. Something that is being presented to you as what is truth will cause fear. Now, the words that I just used were two defined words, true and truth. True is something that is real, and truth is something that is not. It's illegal for truth, and it's lawful for true. So you have to be careful with your wording. So back to the Latin spell. All spells, according to what we've been told, have been written in Latin using a wand, right? So if you are spelled, didn't they teach us spelling in school? You've been spelling your whole life, right?
So I'm sorry.
No, that's it.
So why Latin? Like, what's the importance of the Latin language?
So the importance of Latin languages was one of the crossover languages from our true languages, right? We didn't speak Latin. They brought that to us.
What would you say? We spoke Hebrew or?
Well, Hebrew was one of the ancient
Mesopotamian or
languages,
something?
Mesopotamian languages. So you have older languages. So any language that teaches you to read from left to right, you had a problem. That's why most folks truly have reading dyslexia, because you've been taught a different way that your mind operates. Right? That's why
All minds operate from right to left? Is that what you're saying?
they may possibly do so.
Okay.
And the reason I would say that is because if I was told that I'm supposed to be right-handed and write from left to right, but every other culture just about reads from right to left, and most of them are left-handed. It's something about the left hand that's different from the right hand, right? It seems that the left hand is more intellectual than it is the right hand, right? The right hand in boxing is the precision hit, right? But when you got a lefty in the boxing ring, what happens?
Southpaw.
It changes the game, don't it?
Right.
And it's not only does it change the game, they will say it's an unorthodox way of fighting.
That is true. That is true.
That's why they call the right-handed position orthodox.
That's right. That's right. So what's so unorthodox about it? I still get a knockout, don't it?
It's not. It goes against, I guess, the normal.
The normal.
The
The normal things of Western society.
I was just gonna say, here in Western society, aka America, everything is vastly different from the rest of the world. Even our measurement system.
That's right.
I don't know why that is, but I'm sure it's old documents pertaining to why everything is vastly different.
Exactly.
You know, it's weird what you said about dyslexia. Now I'm starting to find myself recently reading numbers the other way, than how we usually say numbers. And I'll be looking at it like, wait a minute. And you do that pause, like,
Yes.
oh, am I tripping?
So the number system comes from the Arabic number system.
Really?
And it just so happens that Arabic writing is from right to left. So where you're looking at the number 1, it's actually written backwards according to Arabic spelling or Arabic writings, right? So you have literally, your mind is telling you that this is the way I'm supposed to read it, but this is the way they've given it to me, right?
Yeah.
So it's a reversing, and then the number 6, right, is not the same number in the American writing as it is in the Arabic writing. It's different numbers. So there's another play on your mind, because where you're looking at, let's calculate the number 666, it's something different according to Arabic writings, right? So those are the spells. Those are the things that we're talking about. It's just, I want to call it, instead of calling it a spell, let's call it in reverse.
Now, who do you think devised the whole way America and this whole big pyramid scheme of the monetary system? Who do you think devised it at the end of the day? Was one person that smart? Was it a group of people?
Do you want to take this one?
Oh, no.
We did.
Exactly.
We did.
We as in,
Everybody at this table.
Please break this down, because I want to hear this.
I just took part in it. Yeah.
So if we all have access to the Akashic records, or if we all have access to what we think God is, it's a source. So if we have access to the source, and if the Akashic records, let's say, is a big old library somewhere with a bunch of books in it, and you can read any book you want, wouldn't it already have those rules and things set, laws and ordinances and everything that we know today? Wouldn't it already be set?
Why would we do this to ourselves?
Why? Because
We like the challenge?
if I woke up tomorrow and I had everything I need or ever wanted, what's the purpose of waking up tomorrow?
So we did it out of boredom.
We are dying. Okay, space, some vast place with all of these stars, quasars, and moons and planets and things, right? What else is there?
The opportunity to explore all of it.
So how you gonna get there?
That's a good
Good. Hey, you blew my mind with that one. Hey, you know what else you blew my mind with too?
What's that?
I just wrote down the number 1 backwards. You know what it kind of looked like?
What?
The number 7.
Yes, it does. Right? According to these writings, we have bamboozled ourselves for a purpose, right? Everybody wants to know the meaning of life, to live. What else is there to do?
But why would some of us put ourselves through good times
I'm bored up there, man.
and some of us put ourselves through really harsh times? Because some people,
Enkara, I like to hear your.
I'm just saying, hypothetically, if before we're alive, we get to just look down at the earth and say, I want to be born into this family or that family, why would some of us choose the lives we chose?
So it just happens that I don't only do this, I'm a shaman. So let's get into it, shall we? A clock. Even though we know that time is not real, okay? Because I don't believe in past lives. I believe in parallel timelines. Everything is existing simultaneously. There is no
I kind of
past,
agree with
right?
that too.
I mean, if you think about it, right? So now, there's always balance in the universe, yes? Why do we like daytime and nobody wants to go to sleep at night? You need a balance. If you had everything that was good, and it's been stated as such in science, this particular being that we are, bipedal, we do not grow without challenge, without problem. When we are comfortable, we do nothing.
That is kind of true, because I'm very lazy when I'm comfortable.
See what I mean?
What they say, steel sharpens steel?
That's it.
Exactly. So now here's the other part of that. If by chance in your wonderful proposed life, one thing bad happened, you would die. Because you have no other point of reference. You don't have the skills nor the tools to deal with this impediment. What the heck is going on? Oh, this is just, so horrible. I think I'll just kill myself.
Or you could take it out on others, because
And that's usually what happens.
What you're describing is allegedly the elites of society, the people who are over the oil and the money. They're bored at the top. What do? They come down here and play with the rest of us.
Well, here's the other part of that, right? Now, this is something to think about. We always hear melanated because we don't know what black is. This is black. It's faded, but it's still
That's
black.
black, yeah.
That's not me. I'm more cream coffee. No, anyway. So if you
I say
think
brown
about
is
it,
copper.
right?
Yes.
So, but we say copper-colored people,
Yeah.
and that's a myriad of different cultures. Because technically, for us to say that we're melanated, what is the culture that we celebrate?
That
We
is
don't
very
have
true.
one.
But it's the same for white people. If you
No,
keep
I mean here. In this part of the upside down in America, where I call the upside down
Yes.
place, melanated people, what is our culture? Because there is no Africa. That was named after Cornelius Scipio Africanus, which was a Roman.
Yes.
So then, okay, Alkebalanians, you didn't live there. You're obviously a little too hairy for that.
What you say?
Alkebalan
Yeah,
or Alkebalanian
Yes.
or Tamare. So let's get into it. We were already here.
Do you feel
Yes.
that the world had several resets? Because allegedly, the world had the world has resets pretty much.
Okay,
there were
so-
people who were calling themselves what they were calling themselves, their nation, what they called their nation, but then people showed up and said otherwise.
So now here's the thing.
There you go. Bring out the book on them.
Right? So in my nation, where I'm from, because this is me right here. And
Your
you're
nation
in
is
your
your vessel.
nation-
Is that what you're saying?
Exactly.
Okay.
Because you have a microcosm and a macrocosm. Did you know there's a book, I want to say it's The Science of War, I can't remember. But
got
did
that?
you know that any and everything that deals with the military is set up just like the human system that deals with what? Immune system.
Yes. If it exists, though, if the immune system exists,
The immune system does exist. What are you talking about?
There
what
are
does a
certain-
leukocyte do?
there are certain people who are saying it doesn't exist. It's only the lymphatic system is the mucus system.
But that's the whole thing. It's still the immune system. The leukocyte is a white blood cell, is it not? And it is dispatched in certain situations to handle.
Yes.
We all have cancerous cells, right? Okay. What is this?
Cell phone gives off radiation.
What is pH? Potential hydrogen.
Yes.
Right.
So this is technically not. This is cellular pH 1 to deliver you back to your sick state, to activate the sick cancerous cells.
There you go.
You're
So
going
now-
up above my head. I don't know.
I'm saying
No,
this
no, go ahead.
because
Keep going.
everything that is within you is also without, and it's all been made. Everything that's worth anything has quartz crystal and copper and this, that, and the
Yes.
other. So do we. So I can communicate with him, you, and you here if your channels are open. I don't need this.
So why do you feel like humans have gotten away from that? Was it the rise of
Humans
technology?
are the great.
I don't mean, and I mean human universally, of course. If we,
Again, if I were going right back to, if
So
we
wait.
say that we melanated people owned everything, started everything, and you see so-called interlopers or third-party interveners, we would start creating extra stuff so these don't get in. I don't want them to know.
You know what's interesting what you said about the military? when you talk the immune system, it was also said before, it's also to coordinate your breathing too, your breath. You know, that's why they have you breathing a certain type of way because you're in sync. I never knew that.
So let's think of us as a cancer to this planet, right? Which I believe we are.
you believe we are
Oh,
all of life,
All of life is
Okay.
a cancer to this planet.
because some of us really want the best for this.
But look at what we
continue. I want to hear his point.
But however, the planet can sustain you, right?
Right.
But every so now and again, the planet will reset itself.
M. Night Shyamalan had a movie called The Happening, kind of about that. Yeah.
Right? So let's think of things like COVIDs and cancers and AIDS, which we don't hear much about anymore because of COVID.
Right.
However, where did it go? So you have a reset. Now let's look at the definition of reset according to Black's Law, because it's all about taxes. Remember, we mentioned that earlier.
Right.
So the definition of reset according to Black's Law Dictionary 3rd edition says the receiving or harboring an outlawed person. So let's think of who the outlawed persons are. Every individual on this planet is out of law. This is why everything's out of whack. We're accepting things we don't need. We're talking these languages that don't make sense. In a class we had the other day, I held up a pencil. I'm going to use this as a representation. I do not have to tell you what this is. Only thing I have to do is, See how you're nodding? Mm-hmm. We all just agreed that it's a
Yes.
You didn't even have to say it.
Didn't have to say
You
it.
didn't even have to say it.
It was some glottal movement, but
I'm still doing it.
I don't have to tell you what it is, man. So in a reset, as we're going through right now, it's a financial reset across the whole globe. If it's a globe. But however, if it's a globe, we're going through a global reset of finances. That reset is only to receive or harbor an outlawed person. We are not citizens of the United States. We are outlawed persons of the United States. In order to be a citizen, you have to agree to their adhesion contract or their contract. What is that contract? Stealth. Well, that contract is you take this driver's license, this social security number, and we'll give you this. And most people, to live in comfort, accept those legal contracts. And once you're in that legal contract, you're a part of that reset because you just took yourself from a state to another state. And I'm not speaking state of Michigan. I'm speaking physical state. You have literally just made yourself unreal when you were real. And it's impossible for the question of the world question of the police is this ID you? Or they'll ask, is this you? And they'll hold up an ID. And I say, well, that's impossible. That's a 2D picture of some person.
Yes.
I'm 3D.
Right.
Or I have curves. That's flat. Right?
Right.
Such as the earth. But anyway.
I got to do it.
You got to do it.
Figure out what I'm talking about.
You're on your way, right? So the only thing that we want to do here is, yes, there have been multiple resets. You had a bankruptcy in 1930-ish.
Right.
Before that, in the 1800s, there was a reset, right? There was another bankruptcy. Let's talk about Rome. Rome reset itself, didn't it?
Yep.
Germany reset itself. Greece reset itself.
But were they all financial resets?
They were all
types
considered financial tax resets.
I'm saying there are resets outside of financial, though. There are just resets of ways to live as they did the indigenous people.
So can war
We don't want you to be free all day.
Can war
join the
freedom.
system.
Weren't we just talking about freedom?
Yeah.
What's freedom?
That is a question I was going to ask you.
Good.
What is the difference between freedom and liberty, if there is one?
Before I got a quick question for you when it comes to reset. Can war be considered a reset?
War is often reset. Why? Because you send people to the front line to be murdered, and it just so happens they had a certificate attached to them that bears an insurance policy on it. And once that person is murdered, they cash that policy in, and they go and get the issue from it, and they use it to build up something else.
Now, is it true they do the same thing with jobs?
It is the same thing. So when you become an employee, which you can never be, you are the employer in the beginning. Why? Because once they get your social security number, which is for tax purposes only, is not for identification, they take that number, they access your account, and they pay you from your account. They are 100% profit.
And I just have to put this in here because we got a lot of brainwashed people. I'm so sorry. If you go back and you type into Google the history of this Social Security card, because it used to be on the Social Security Administration. They took all the pictures down. They just have this description. They say for tax purposes and Social Security Act purposes only, not for identification. So you have something called the 1974 Privacy Act or the Eric Larson Act. You're never, ever, ever, ever supposed to give your Social Security number to anything or anyone.
Let me ask this question because he touched on jobs and occupations for a minute. When you apply, when you're in front of an application, they ask certain questions, male or female. Should you answer that?
You can answer it, but you might be better off saying, I prefer not to say, or non-binary. And here's why. Male and female, that's not real. Those are animal husbandry terms. Animal husbandry. That's one. Two, the word children, that from the first Black's Law Dictionary is actually a sales term. A patune.
Now, another question they ask on the application, something along the lines of, are you a United States citizen?
Okay.
And to get the job, I always feel like you have to say yes.
So, and that's where all of this is going. You feel like you need to do something
Why?
without them even saying. And we were just talking about that, right? So here's the truth. Are we in the United States right now?
No.
No.
And
why?
For the viewers, if you don't mind explaining.
So the United States is in Washington, D.C., the District of Columbia, and it's only 10 square miles. I don't care what you say. I don't care what you call it. We're not there. So you are not in the United States of America. You are not in the United States or the old Virginia Company or whatever they've changed the corporational name to.
So
where are we now?
We are in the Republic of Michigan. And that is not part of the United States. And United States never received a 2/3 vote to be a real state. So there is no state of Michigan. But there is an EIN or a federal tax ID for the state of Michigan.
And where we are is considered abroad.
Is every state a republic?
Everything that is according to the Constitution was guaranteed a republic form of government.
And some are commonwealths.
Well, I'll be.
So with all this terms of republic, why does the term Democrat matter at all?
So, again, if you want to get somebody, then you want to give them a choice. So we don't understand or overstand what the real meaning of that is. And so this is how I explain it to children. Democrat is, you've got a lot of stuff, and these people need some stuff. You ought to share your stuff so everybody could have something. Democrat. Now, Republican, I earned this money. It's my money. I decide where it goes and how I want it to be spent. That's what it really is, Republican. And because most melanated people don't have, or we don't think that we have assets or anything to manage, we go, I'm a Democrat. This was the form of government that they taught so-called melanated people to go for. And we're still on it. And you can go on social media. You will argue with family, friends, cats, dogs, and as I heard it called before, Reverend Pork Chop as well. So now that is another tax shelter, another classification to get money. And here's why I say that. If I give you, like I just told my daughter earlier today, the school says you have to wear uniforms, but on Fridays you get to pay to wear your own clothes.
Pay to wear?
But now if I sit out several outfits and I say, these are your uniforms, and you pick which uniform you want to wear today, did you really make your own choice?
No, you didn't.
So there was a little girl who found years ago during a social studies or a history thing that every single president-elect
Was related?
was related to one king way back in the day, except for one person.
Yes, definitely.
Never mentioned who that one person was. So now I'm going to pose this to you again. If I didn't want you to know something, I would set up a bunch of stuff to make it look like something else. That's just like none of us are actually in the Electoral College. So why do I voted today. Make sure you vote. There's no power to voting because even when you go to the polls to vote, you are voting for who you want to be the elector for you.
You know what? I'm glad to have y'all on the show because I've been so sick and damn tired to explain these damn. You know what?
Let me ask this question.
Let me not do it.
You did mention every president is related to one king years ago.
One monarch, yes.
Yes. Do you think there are sacred bloodlines?
When you say sacred.
Do you think there are bloodlines they want to protect? We want you guys to have longevity and offspring.
Can I answer that?
Please do.
I'll leave it at that.
I can answer that. Now, a lot of us don't, if you ever watched a movie with Tom Hanks, Angels and Demons,
Right.
they lay this stuff out for you.
Mm-hmm.
It's just that you think it's entertainment, and so you wash it out as it's just entertainment.
Mm-hmm. Right.
They talked about the Merovingian line or the Merovingian bloodline, right? That was purportedly, and I know a lot of Christians may get angry with me, was purportedly the line of Christ. He actually had children. And if you read the Bible as it is and stop letting Reverend Porkchop read it to you, you will see that there was a person in that book named Simon Bar Jesus.
Bar means son of in Hebrew.
And if that is the son of Jesus, right, which is really not his name, but however, if that is his son and he was performing the same acts as Jesus did, that would mean that why did he like Mary more than he liked the other disciples?
Yeah.
So in the scripture, it says the apostles came upon Christ. And by the way, Christ actually is from another name, which was Kar Aset. You have Asar and Aset. It was Kar Aset. And that's where you get Christ from. We're not even going to go into that because that was the feminine, not the masculine. Anyway, the apostles came to him and said, Yeshua, there's a man doing acts that you do. So now when you think about it, when you're dealing with martial arts and everything else, you have a bloodline, you have a family way that you teach things. Okay, so if you weren't blood of my blood, flesh of my flesh, how would you be able to do the same exact thing the way I do it?
Right.
Okay. And so they said, this guy is doing things the way you do them, doing the same thing you do. Mm-hmm. Do you want us to stop him? Mm-mm. And what did the apostles say? Do you want us to stop him? Yeshua answered, no, because anyone that is doing anything in my name, and this is where we always get this hang up. Sorry, Christians, don't hate me. So in the name of, if you know anything other than English, in Hebrew means by my way. It does not mean in the name of Jesus, because so many times he says, don't pray to me, don't this, don't that. He said, I didn't come to bring a law, I came to bring a sword. He said, is it not written? Meaning there was already a law in existence and he was just upholding it.
Right.
Okay, we're going to put that to the side. So he says, anyone who is doing anything in my name cannot speak evil against me. That was him protecting his own, just as it was. So now you ask about bloodlines. You see this mother that gets mad because she's not with the dad, and she looks at this child, she's like, oh, you just like your dad.
Treats him like that too.
Right? So now that truly means that there's a blood frequency that calls us to do things, and it's only shared by certain familial frequencies or sequencies.
Right. And I noticed the big word you said right there. You said familiar, family.
Yes.
All related into one.
Yes.
That was the main touch. But you know what? I'm glad you just touched on movies like Angels and Demons. From my understanding, they've been trying to tell us this for a long time, but people ain't just been picking it up.
Well, we can go back as far as The Wizard of Oz, and there were things before that, right? You had a whole movie that came out called Zardos.
Zardos?
Zardos.
How do you spell
that one?
Z zebra, A Abraham, R Randall, D dog, O octopus, Z zebra.
Okay.
Zardos.
Look that up for yourselves.
And the word comes from Wizard of Oz.
So Zardos was out before Oz.
Wizard backwards.
No, it wasn't.
Okay.
The movie branched off from Wizard of Oz because in the movie he found the book Wizard of Oz, and literally Zard is the end part of wizard, and then Oz or ounce for the gold is the next part of the word, which is Zardos or Zard Oz, right? So in this movie, it was talking about if I presented to you a god, right? I just found a way to make something levitate, and I come down on a big head and I make you worship it. You as an uneducated person to my system of things will believe in me, right? And so if I gave you a God to believe in, you more than likely will follow it. But let's say there's no God. What are we following? When you wake up in the morning,
you should
is that true? Because everybody's so busy waiting for somebody to come and save them when God is in you and he's telling you how to save yourself every time you wake up, even while you're asleep.
Even in the Bible, and this is where we're going to get real deep. So I'm going to walk you across the street and I'm going to leave you there because you can always come back on your own.
All right.
We're all adults.
Y'all figure out what I'm talking about.
So now, the third eye is the Christ. If you read in the scriptures, they said he was crucified between the two thieves. Right here. Now, let's make it even bigger. If I was lying, he was crucified at what? Golgotha. Golgotha means what? Skull.
So do you all believe in Christ oil, things of that nature, where if you abstain from certain pleasures?
The Christ oil is within you.
Okay.
However, it's called white and black Tantra. But we just talked about balance. So now, let me ask you a question. if you let me slap you 1,000,000 times, does it make you righteous?
You won't make it to a million.
And I'm saying this because even a rose has thorns to protect itself. But our current way of thinking with religion and spirituality is, oh, I just float in the cloud and everything's peaceful.
I never
no,
understood
that's
that.
not true.
Because there are angels in the Bible who've killed people, and people ignore that. They just see angels as
Even the disciples threw hands.
Yeah,
So-
somebody got their ear cut off, didn't they?
Yeah,
But this is
they were
why
warriors.
they ask you. Keep in mind, most people that say they believe in something, they really don't even read the whole Bible. Because if you did, then you'd know in Matthew it told you to be a good slave. So what are you fussing about?
Right. Which
Okay.
makes perfect sense.
So things have been put together from here. Like I call English the bukkake baby of English. Or
Bukkake?
of all.
Oh, wow.
Bukkake baby of
Yeah,
all
I know that is.
languages.
I know that
Y'all
is.
figure out what I'm talking about.
Look, that's a whole nother conversation.
Hey,
Let me ask you this, though. Let me ask you this. You just mentioned if somebody reads the full Bible, technically they wouldn't have read it because there were books left out. How do you all feel about the books
yeah.
that were left out?
Those were the most important books because in one of those books you have Moses or one of the so-called people.
Enoch or the Book of Dead, or which one?
It's the book of Enoch. And he goes home, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he says, why are you still worshiping these what? Idols.
These idols, right?
Right? You remember this part?
Yes.
And so his dad would not go along with the story. So he waited till everybody left. And he tore the idols up, a couple of them. And his dad comes back and goes, what's going on here? He said, man, you just missed it. I left an offering at this one, and this one wanted to eat it, and they started fighting.
It also talks about in the Book of Enoch that the sun and the moon are one and the same size.
Come on
I
now.
kind of believe that, though.
I mean, look at it. All you gotta do is look up.
Yeah, I believe it, but
But you know what? I gotta add this, not to cut you off. You know, when you were just talking about how people didn't want to abide by it, that's exactly what's happening right now, especially during the election. People, when you start telling them certain things, they ignore it.
Yes.
They ignore. They just shun you out. Like, no, you can't come over here no more.
That's right.
I don't want to hear it.
I had a very lovable aunt that called me one day on the phone and said, I just need to know, are you a Christian or not? And I told her in response, well, if you can show me where Jesus told you to call yourself a Christian, then I'll say that's what I am.
So what happened?
She didn't want to talk to me for a while. And that's okay. I still love her to death, but well, it's a life. But the thing is that because of your cultural belief, you would shun out somebody that you truly love.
and he taught love and preached love.
That was the final message.
Same did
love.
Buddha. Yeah.
I didn't come to change any of those tittles or biddles. And if you know what a tittle is, it's one of those little pieces of the Hebrew language that separates words or accents the word. He didn't come to change the Hebrew law. He came to add on to it.
Right.
A lot of people practice exegesis. They can read a scripture and interpret it, which is not good, because then you interpret it, I hear your interpretation, I interpret it, so on and so on, and then we're completely lost from the original meaning.
And you know, that's caused a lot of arguments and disagreements because certain people read it this way and get this from it, and they, compared to how you might read it, and it comes a big conflict. So,
Well, so imagine a world without written documents. We would go back to this.
And people will have sharper memories, I feel, without written documents.
If I teach you how to not read and you can still get along in life, wouldn't that be much better?
Right.
You're next to me. You want to learn how to milk a cow. I don't have to talk to you to tell you how to milk a cow. I just do the thing.
right. When they say actions speak louder than words. Like,
They also say the pen is mightier than the sword. So now here's your spells, documents, all these things come into play.
And can
Because
I
we've
add
been
to what you were
brainwashed.
just saying? When you spell the word word backwards, it's swords. They said words can never hurt me. You better think again. Because it can.
Let me ask you this. From what I'm gathering of you both, when you watch movies, it's never just for entertainment. It's
no.
always subliminals and other stuff
It's
going
colors
on.
for her and it's law for me.
So let me Matrix. I'll leave it at Matrix question mark.
You want it?
We'll
Well,
tag
what-
team back up.
Well, tag team?
Yeah.
What does the word matrix mean?
I have no idea.
It appears in the Bible several times.
I've
And
heard
it's
it
a feminine word.
It's a feminine word.
Matriarchy.
Words can be
Matriarchy, that's what it
male
is,
and feminine.
Yeah.
They can have feminine and masculine energy. So every language except for ours now, they used to do it. foreign language has a masculine and feminine form.
You're right, because I'm trying to learn Spanish, and they do the la.
Yes,
they
la and los, right? So
Yes.
if I'm in Arabic, it's the difference between inti and inte.
Yes.
If I talk to a man and say inti, I just disrespected that man. Back to Spanish. ¿Cómo estás? If I just walked up to you and said that, that's disrespectful. You have to put the usted on the back of it in order to be in a formal presentation until you cross the formal border to come into what's called informal. Probate court is set up in formal and informal processes, but however, English, Latin is also a feminine and masculine language, which is the branch over language to English, right? So if you have these two energies in a language, and then you tell me that it's all masculine at some point, you got a problem. You just took her out of the whole equation. And if I remove her from the equation, how can I have another me?
Right.
But why was that done? Everything has a purpose. So we're looking at patriarchy. Now,
There's no matrix, is there? It's a matrix, right? Or a matrix.
mater, pater. So here's the funny thing. They talked about the trials for the witches, right?
Oh, Salem witch trials?
There were no witches. Witch actually means wise woman. She knew how to birth babies, when to pull teeth, and how to pull her own teeth and all this good jazz. That whole thing that they taught was about witches was actually to get land.
Everything is
But they
for that.
had to get it from the women.
Why?
The women were the ones. If you watch a movie called Killers of the Flower Moon,
Yes, I've seen it.
women were the full-blood estate, not the men.
That's right. That's right.
So have you, kind of touching on women in their history and society, have you heard about Queen Khalifa over California?
Yes, indeed.
And what do you think about her? Allegedly, she, I believe, was like the president over all of America, but she resided in California when it used to be an island. I don't know if you heard something different.
Heard a lot about it. Even bigger is the question of how did it change and why? When you were little and you heard something you didn't like, what did you say? Man, when I get grown, I'm going to.
Yes.
I leave that right there.
Right. You know, I want to talk about debt for a minute. Since we talked about fraud, I know debt is damn sure fraud. So when they serve you with a bill or some type of something like that, for the viewers out there,
Coupon even.
Yes.
what can they do to say, look, this is a fraud?
So, me personally, in order to call it a fraud, you have to know what a fraud is. Right? So when we get a bill, right, we might want to look that word up. When you get a bill, at the bottom of the purported bill is attached, as he just said, a coupon.
Yes.
So anybody that has ever gone to a grocery store and taken a coupon there knows that that's some type of transfer of funds that I can use to circumvent the actual amount that they want at the store, right? So if I get a bill that has a coupon attached to it, that means that I can circumvent that bill to not be in so much debt.
Right.
So let's say, for all intents and purposes, I cut that bill off and I take the coupon off and I send it where funds are created. I don't create funds. I don't have a mint in my basement, you know. But if I did have one, then I should be able to create a bill with my face on it, correct?
Right.
So if my bill has my face on it, then that means that you have to give me what you owe to me.
Right.
The brother just said something about presidents and stuff like that being in a natural bloodline. Whose faces are on the bills?
The president's.
So who's supposed to pay your bill?
The president.
Oh,
Secretary of Treasury.
is that right?
Yeah.
So if I call the Secretary of Treasury right now and say, hey, pay my bill, what would she say? You got a bunch of forms to fill out, sir. And once those forms are filled out, you still got some other stuff you got to do. And then when you do that, come see me.
So they won't lead you astray.
You know what
is
that
you're
sounds
saying.
like? That sounds like the Wizard of Oz.
Oh, is that right? All down the yellow brick road. Here we go.
Come on now.
Come on down. You're going to walk the gold path to get to a green emerald city. Doesn't that sound familiar? Hey, why don't everybody give me your gold?
It's so hard to carry. You could carry this paper instead. It's much
What color
lighter.
is the paper?
Green.
Green.
Emerald City? So
Y'all
knew he was
figure out
gonna do
what I'm talking about.
But they made it more simple on the Wiz. First, it was your blood. You had red, gold, and green, right? Wouldn't be caught dead. Red. Oh, now I'm not going to just put my thumbprint. If you watched old school kung fu movies, I know I did.
Hey,
When they were
Being
gambling, they had to go get some more money. They would put their thumbprint up, get some more money, and go back to the table.
right.
People don't pay attention. You just talked about being entertained. You looking at the what you wall.
Yeah.
But this right here, oh boy, this was the money. They need your fingerprint to make sure that you didn't do anything. But I have a criminal record or I don't have a criminal record. Why do you need my fingerprints?
Right.
Because if something happens to you as a negotiable instrument, they have to know when to close down that instrument, don't they?
Yes, they do. And so to get on that debt instrument, right? House Joint Resolution 192 of June 5th, 1933 said that the United States is responsible or obligor for all debts, private and public.
And now known as 48 Stat 112.
And according to 48 Stat 112, anything that is located in the statutes of large of Congress, those are the true intentions of what Congress decided for the rules and laws to be where your republic is formed. Anything that is not in the statute at large is what's called an illegal action against your estate. If you do not take control of your estate, you are always going to have a bill to pay. Right? And how do you circumvent them coming after excise taxes on the estate and give taxes on the estate? You create a living trust to be the Jesus for your God. So if I create an interloper, an intermingler, right? You know, Jesus said you can't get to the Father unless you come through me, and you got to use my name to get there.
Right.
So if I use this red thing, this form of a thumbprint, there's one thing particular about this thumb. It has identifiable portions of it that everybody that controls money knows about. One of those particular identifications is called an island. I know everybody wants to say island, but when you spell it and you read it according to English, it's is land. Whose land? I's land. So I don't need anything from anybody. It's all in me. So all I got to do is just put this on a piece of paper and say it's paid. Yeah.
Now let me ask you another question. Now when babies are born, I gotta ask.
Go for it.
When I'm gonna go there real quick. When babies are born, when we talk about taking their, printing things, notice they print their feet.
They used to do the hands, right? The reason they stopped doing the hands is because babies come out with their fists ready to fight.
Right.
And in order to get that baby's prints, you had to open that hand. And most babies' hands is automatically resistant to that. So trying to open that baby's hands and press it, they broke some babies' hands and somebody got their butt kicked in the hospital.
Now can I ask you this? Why do babies come out that way?
It's ether. Anybody know what ether is? Ether is according to the number 9. Ether is complete. It's everything. It's all. The number 9 is the only number in mathematics that you can multiply by it, and it will return a 9 of completion. You know, everybody thought 7 was the complete number. No, the number 9 is. So if I ball my fist up, doesn't that look like a 9?
Right.
If you look at your piece of hair and you just drop it, it'll curl and look like a 9.
If you have 9 ether hairs. Though.
If you are a cosmos, and even with them, they still have our cosmos.
Just
they
at a
still have our
lesser-
energy.
yes.
It's just less of it.
Yes.
Right? Which is why their hair is straightened. So a lot of people have this confusion of this white and black thing. There's no such thing. They are creations too, which cover and have life. And if you take that life, you're just as responsible, which is why we couldn't kill them when we created them. You ask who created the law? We did. So if we created the law, we created them too. It's called science. All I have to do is remove melanin from an entity and they will be pale. I wonder who did that. So anyway,
I was thinking about getting a picture of the guy who did
you
that,
should.
but I
You
don't
put
know.
it right back here on this wall.
Thinking about it.
So with that being said, the ether, the 9, the completion, everything is complete within you. You don't need anything outside of you. So if I am land, that is how everybody gets paid.
Now, let me ask a question that's possibly off topic. Say they took all our gold. Tomorrow, a guy's just digging in his farm. He discovers mounds of gold on his land. Does that affect anything? The nation's debt? Does that affect all the gold they took? And what if on his land there's more gold than what they took?
So, what is land, right?
Yes.
Land is just an extension of you, right? Just like your sword. If I had a sword in my hand, it's just an extension of my hand. If I properly know how to use my hand, I should know how to use a sword.
Is that why they call it an arm?
That's right. So,
Message.
and so, with that being said, by land being an extension of me, you better make sure that your land rights are correct.
That's right.
Because if they're not, and they discover that you have a gold vein, they didn't just call it gold rocks just laying around. There was a vein. So if the planet produces a natural gold vein, this planet is wealthy, huh?
And living.
And if I or it is an extension of me, then I'm just as wealthy. So let's figure out where that gold is in me. If you trace up into the brain, in a certain position of the brain, there's this place of Iker. It's called Iker. To those that are wise of that word, it is gold. This is why they need to control your mind. If they can control your mind, they can control your wealth. In the movie Killers of the Flower Moon with Leonardo DiCaprio, the only thing they wanted to control was your money. How do I do that? Well, I have to get in touch with them and become their guardian. So if I can become their guardian, I can control their estate.
And knock him out the way.
Get rid of them so I can take over, and I don't have to look like them, and I don't have to come from their bloodline. I just got to mix in.
You know, you actually brought up a good point when you talking about the brain. You remember back in 2020, they tried to test everybody for COVID, and the test.
The jab was just the Jabberwocky.
Y'all figure out what I'm talking about.
The main thing was, you know, they put that thing, if you know what I'm talking about, up your nose.
And they broke through
all the way to the cribriform bone.
The cribriform plate. Yes.
Why would they do that? I just want.
That's where your Iker resides. That's where the purported energies of the third eye or the first eye produces what you need for the body to function, right? Our bodies are, you know, if there is a God, he would have to be a mad scientist. And the reason I say mad is crazy. That's the true word of crazy. I can be angry, but it's impossible for me to be mad or I'll be in some facility. So if God is a mad scientist to create me, just little old one me, and I am my own identity throughout the universe. There is nobody like me. There may be people that act like me, talk like me, look like me, smell like me, but there is no me here, anywhere, right? So unless I had an identical twin. Now, if I am this individual created by this mad scientist and I have all of these things in me, if he is the universe or it is the universe, wouldn't I be too? So I have gold, I have silver, I have quartz, I have all of these fine things. Everything is in me.
I've heard before that there are oftentimes babies born with a single strand of gold hair.
Yes.
I've never knew how true that was, but I've heard it before.
My son was born with silver hair.
Okay.
Silver is the matriarch side of things, right?
Feminine.
The feminine, and gold is the masculine. That's why they call the sun him, and they call the moon her. The
I never
sun-
heard that before.
Oh yeah, the sun is.
Now that's coming to me. I have heard it.
And-
what they say is different, like night and day.
Yes, right. And who controls the emotions?
And the moon controls women. Because our womb is the water. The moon controls the tide, which is the water. So now let's get a little deeper onto this. We're always asking you guys for money because you're the bank and we are the shore.
Well, women are asking for men for money to clarify.
Right.
Okay.
So when you are in the water and you're looking for safety, where do you go? To shore. Okay. Where the land and the water meet. Why? Because 6 inches of soil, 6 inches of water. That's what you need to what? Plant a seed. Okay.
When y'all get that one, you're on your way.
I had a joke. I'm not going to crack it. I do want to say this. How important is it to keep receipts, or does that matter?
So she runs around looking for receipts. But however, the importance of a receipt is to show that there was a transaction.
Yes.
That transaction can be claimed on your tax return. Now, a lot of us think we're supposed to be running out here filing 1040s. we're supposed to be filing 1041s because we are estates and trusts, right? And because we are such, we don't file like everybody else decides to file as citizens do. We file as the private entities are supposed to, which is filing a 1041, which is specifically for estates and trusts.
Right.
When you file that form, you want to be able to claim everything you did. Without you, commerce doesn't happen. You have to want something according to supply and demand economically. There's a micro demand and there's a macro demand. Just like there's a microcosm and there's a macrocosm. The microcosm is you. The macro is everything else. And I have to find out, where do I fit in that micro or that macrocosm as a micro entity, so that I can go into that macro and get what I need as a micro, right?
Now, let me ask you this. Do you think certain type of debt is necessary?
Certain type of debt is necessary. Why? To balance. We are in a check and balance system. That is what the Constitution was created off of. It is all about your accounting. If I spend, I should receive.
That's right.
And it's as simple as that.
So, would the basics of what you know be understanding public versus private?
Oh, definitely. You never mix the two, right? You mix the two, you got a problem.
Okay.
What kind of problems would you have?
So, for instance, there's this a bunch of what I call TikTokers out there that talk about the 1099 process, right?
Right.
And there's this form called a 1099 OID. The 1099 OID stands for Original Issue Discount, right? These words, here's that discount word again. According to that form, if you properly fill it out, you should be able to receive a check from the Internal Revenue to go and do things that you need to do in the world. Problem is when you receive that check, some people decide to go and pull cash from it. It's a check. Where do checks go? To banks. As she said, when you want security, you go to the shore. So if I do anything other than I told them I was going to do according to that 1099 OID, the Internal Revenue will submit and send to the IRS a form to say, come and arrest this person under a court action. They bring you in and they tell you that, hey, you did something you weren't supposed to do. They're not going to tell you exactly what you did. They will tell you did something wrong. And they will either lock you up or make you pay back every dollar that you pulled from that original issue discount. That is one of the things that I'm speaking of. Great. And so in order to not deal with such a thing, you have to educate yourself on the process, because these TikTokers are going to get a lot of people locked up. They're just out there saying, fill out this form and go do this. That is not how it works. You have to study and show thyself approved.
Right.
If you do not, you will find the IRS at your door telling you that you owe them money and possible jail time. Right?
You know what I noticed about this conversation? It all go back to one thing, not funds, but to the spirit.
To the spirit.
To the spirit, because if you ain't right within, you're not gonna be right without.
That's right.
That's one of the main things. But I actually got a serious important question to ask both of y'all. What can one do, and this is just for the viewers, what can one do to prepare themselves or have their selves ready for the next reset?
You want that one?
First and foremost, realize that, like he said before, a reset is a redo. You're harboring something illegal. What makes this so-called money worth anything? It's called consumer confidence. So because you believe it is, so now we're going to redo that. Now what do you believe? You believe this is something because we told you it was. But you're never actually in a state of being free, because now you've just placed yourself under somebody else's jurisdiction. Technically, as Stealth mentioned, there's no money. There was a bankruptcy. When you file for bankruptcy, do you leave with anything? Barely what you want to keep. And you have to arrange that. And there's a trustee that comes letting you know what? That there are trusts and estates. You just don't know how they work. So now, what reset?
So it sounds to me that your final answer to the question is, learn how to effectuate yourselves in estates and trusts.
Yes.
That is the key to the reset. If you learn how to control an estate, to use a trust, to do all of the other things for you, you will be fine in a reset. You are the fund. So why do I need to go and get a dong? Why do I need a dinar if I'm the fund?
And keep in mind, so think about this. Let's say we had other foreigners come to our foreign country and they all get dollars and 20. Oh, I got like 5 million $100 bills. That's taking it out of circulation, isn't it? So now, does that help the economy? I'm going to leave that right there. So all these people that are saying, oh, I got this, I got that. Are you helping that country?
I have a question since you just mentioned. Okay.
So I say this to people all the time. We say we want something, but deep down, everybody just wants their turn to be the thing that they don't like having happened to them, because that's what you're doing in a reset. Now I'm rich. Now I get to say, oh no, but I'm helping people because I have my humanitarian plans. No, that's not how that works at all. That is what I call living in Deluluville.
Mm-hmm. And the question I had, since you mentioned foreigners, it made me think of black people never getting reparations. Mm-hmm. Do you think it's because they identify as black people? Because I always tell people myself.
Please answer that question.
Well, first, I always tell people black people don't deserve it.
I'm glad you answered that, but please go, please.
So first and foremost, again, let me ask you a question. Reparations is to repair something. And if you believe that you are a part of that group, then by all means. However, let me just submit this to you. If this is my land and you came and you kicked my door in, I want restitution because I was already here. You didn't bring me from anywhere. But we have to believe in something to take part in another adhesion contract. So now you're an Israelite, you're a Moor, you're a this, you're a that, anything we can get you to classify yourself to be so that we can control it. Absolutely. Dr. John Henrik Clarke said that when you call a people by a cultural name, you are speaking by their land, their language, right? What is our land? What is our language? What is our culture? We don't have one. We don't have one. We claim, oh, I'm really a Hebrew. I'm really this. And do you know all that stuff is still an Islamic system? Did you really not know that the Catholic Church gave all three of these Abrahamic religions the permission to exist? So here we go. What are you? I'm an Islam. Oh, brother, standing on the corner with these little carpet fringes.
5%ers and all that.
And even that's a certain thing, because now you're talking about a real reset. They call themselves gods. So gods are sticking there, you know what's in planets. So why would you call me an earth? Because you want to walk on me. You don't see me as your equal. Well, that's a whole nother statement for another time. Let's not go there.
Oh, wow.
Everything has a balance. So where are the goddesses for the gods?
Are you perceiving that wrong? Are you perceiving the gods and the gods and the earths? Are you perceiving that wrong? Because I never looked at it from a belittling perspective.
By what I've seen in action, because technically there is no talking, there's only doing. The verb is the only thing that matters. So now when you really talk about things, you're talking about the verb. And so when you look at the verb, what is a god and what is an earth? There is no parity. Just like the thing that is the ID is dead, and I am a real living being. So how am I going into court under a dead, fictitious thing? So now, again, I submit everything has to have balance. So why would you say God and not goddess? Because you are only intending to plant a seed and rule over it.
Do you think you're looking for an argument, though, with that?
Never.
I am never looking for anything. And here's the reason why. When you've been brainwashed, you submit these things to be the truth. And we just said that there's a difference between true and truth. And if the Bible mentions matrix and calls her name wisdom, and they took out all these other books that talk about the Pistis Sophia, because we're not even going to get into that, because that's
who?
The Pistis Sophia, Pistis Sophia. Again, if you know your history, Christ, the word Christ comes from kar aset, which is the feminine.
And wasn't kar aset a goddess?
Yes.
According to them?
Can I ask a question? If God in general, the one above all, is both masculine and feminine, right? Correct? Will we agree to that?
Well, no, because in the book of Bereshit, which you know to be Genesis, it says the Elohim created.
Yahweh, Elohim, Yahshua.
No.
Just Elohim.
So again, this is what happens when people don't know languages and they let Reverend Porkchop
My learning curve
and
is
Deacon Doolittle teach you something. Elohim is a plural word that means gods and goddesses.
It's the balance.
so that's what I was getting at. So with the gods and the earths, why
where's
can't
the
everybody
goddess?
just say God and just be for everybody?
Because
the
God is
masculine term.
masculine.
Okay.
Again, balance. Elohim is plural. Let's not skip over that.
This is all
because you have-
polarity.
Oh,
Thank you.
All polarity.
Well, you know,
Because
I got-
now, if you have a positive and negative, you have a spark of life. But if you only got one or the other, you don't. But originally, feminine had the whole everything, and they created life without masculine anything. They're never going to talk about that because, that's going against God.
I mean, you definitely do need both to work. Just look at batteries
Yeah, I
and
was
just
just
any.
gonna-
So
you just
what
read
is
my
the
mind.
purpose of removing that? Because if you stay lost and I never even know who I am to begin with, then that's a whole nother reset.
So
Well, you know, I got a question. Let me just ask this. It's a little bit off topic. You know, we've been having this conversation for a long time now, and one of the sayings that they say in the military is that you're born dead. You're born dead, and I know what they mean by what they're born dead. But for the viewers out there that don't know, what does that really mean by you're born dead?
it means when you're not breathing, you come out.
Wait,
they
hold
spank you.
on. We gotta have them. We gotta have them do it.
And some would say
Play stupid, play.
lack of cessation of life, right? So being born dead, when you come into this world, first of all, you're not born. That's another term according to Black's Law Dictionary. You're not birth either. That's something that happens with ships. So if I create a ship, is the ship alive? Can the ship sail itself? Can the ship turn its rudder? It needs something else to do that, doesn't it? So when I'm born dead, like a ship, that means that there's a manifest somewhere. That means that there's a data entry somewhere that happened according to some log or captain's log. Birth. In comes baby from mama's womb. They consider that a birth. But in order for that to happen, doesn't mom have to dock somewhere? And if she docks somewhere, isn't there a doctor somewhere to receive her in a receiving position?
Receivership.
So, you receive the ship. So if there is a receiving of a ship, there has to be a manifest. A manifest is also defined in Black's Law Dictionary as an entry or a data entry of accounting. In a data entry that's paperwork written, is paper alive? So in order to have a true birth, you have to be documented by the doctor from the doc. I love these words.
Everything revolves around water.
In reverse, who carries the water?
Now, does that have a correlation with what we call the maritime flag?
That's so if you want to look at it as such, because you'll also hear the TikTokers say that when you enter a court, you're in a maritime jurisdiction. That is not true.
It's a military tax court.
It is a tax court that has accounting of data entry upon a manifest that deals with ships that come in and out. And if you have the right passcode, you can ask the captain of the other ship to let you through.
Pass the port.
Now, let me ask you, who will be the captain of the ship?
The judge.
Oh,
Y'all figure out what I'm talking about.
We don't gotta figure it out. He said it. You know?
Oh, it's a lot more that goes to
It's
that.
more okay.
It's a lot more.
Hey, what they said.
So anytime that you take an oath, that kills you. Civilly, you are dead. now.
Civiliter mortuus.
Yes,
What's that?
that's right.
Exactly.
Yes, right.
So a woman being married, that kills her. When you sign that document, you are being killed. When they signed off on your birth certificate,
Stroke of death.
Now, let me ask you this. Does that also apply, since this is an election year, does that also apply to your voter registration card?
Yes, it does.
Oh.
What is a voter's registration? Anything that you register to do automatically is a civil death.
Yeah.
You're taking an oath to vote.
Now, does that change a person's emotions? Because, as you know, when one side have an argument with another side, that looks at that other side as an enemy.
You know why it changes your emotions?
Please.
Because you took the moon out of it. You took the woman, you took the feminine energy out of it by telling you you're supposed to go and vote. There is no such thing as a vote. There is no such thing. The only thing that matters in that whole electoral process is the elector. They are the only ones that make the final decision on who's going to be up there. And guess who they just so happen to be? Everybody that we are not. All of the wealthy, all of the lobbyists, all of the people that control your assets.
And own land.
You know, that gives a new meaning to they not like us.
They not like
All
us.
day.
They not like us.
And by the way, so think about this. He just talked about water. Ship, all this. So you're also dealing with electricity, which is nothing but us.
Or current.
You're going to the terminal to vote, VOLT, but they say VOTE, of what? Who's going to be in charge?
Arg.
You mind if I get into a little bit of current events, though?
Go for it. Go for it.
Okay, so we all know what's going on down south with these hurricanes and all that. I did my research on the hurricane, not Hurricane Milton, but the hurricane that just, with Ina, the one that just hit, the Smoky Mountains. Now, I was doing my research on the land down there, and they were talking about it's a deeper reason why that hurricane really hit. Have y'all heard about it?
Of course.
So I want to get your perception on the situation going on down there.
Well, let's look at it like this. If there's something I want, and I want it real bad, and I don't want to spend a lot of money for it, what's the best way to get it? I make it less than what it's worth. So if I go in and I destroy all of the stuff that's around it, let's say an act of God. So hurricanes, tornadoes, and all of these natural occurring storms and things on this planet are random acts of God. But however, it seems like after those random acts of God happen, somebody takes possession of those lands and they get it dirt cheap. I wonder why. So if you're asking me, do I believe that these storms are orchestrated? By all means, in my mind, I do. But however, are they? Well, no, they're just random acts of God.
Government.
Are we talking about HARP?
Government of democracy?
Government
Bro,
of
Y'all figure out what
Are
I'm
we talking about HARP? Because
talk-
they have no way to control storm.
Can I do? I like.
Whoa.
Unless we're talking about cloud busters. What are we
I
speaking
want
of?
you to look up something called Operation Popeye,
Okay.
because that's about seeding clouds
Oh yeah.
to rain out somebody. And that also happened in the time of, what was the other war, the main one? Vietnam.
Vietnam.
Okay.
They wanted to rain out the Viet Cong. That was the second time.
We lost that war, by the way.
We lost.
But you
Well,
know, it's,
I'll take that back.
but you know, it's interesting you said that because in that movie Forrest Gump, he mentioned that it rained all the time.
Yeah.
And he was in Vietnam.
He was in
not?
Vietnam. That was the same war.
And what was the disease that they used in Vietnam?
What they say it was
Agent Orange.
There you go.
From the World War II, yeah.
In order for it to get to the ground, it had to be rained. didn't it?
Yeah.
and also
And that was from Vietnam, not from World War II.
And that was a
No, I'm
older-
saying World War II is when Agent Orange was created.
Right.
Yes.
And
But
so
now-
that was an older time, and
That-
technology
Exactly.
wouldn't have existed, so they say, right? That type of, if I can control a storm, I would not, and I should not, at that time, have any type of technology that can do such.
but I also heard too that they had something called Agent Blue. I didn't know about that.
They really.
You know what Agent Blue is?
No.
Agent Blue killed the land.
Yes.
What do you mean by pesticides, or what are we talking about?
All of it was a pesticide, and it just so happened that that pesticide was strong enough to affect the people that were there too.
Okay.
And it's also bewildering why the Vietnamese would tell us, the dark-skinned folks, when we were there, to go home.
It's not your war.
It's not your war.
This ain't your war.
This ain't your war.
So who was really?
We just
fighting?
trying to get checks, man.
Yeah,
we are in a monetary system broke. People, we just trying to get the money.
That's all they want.
Now
There is no money.
I do somewhat believe you when you're talking about you want to get something for cheap, because around here all my life I've seen houses for sale. The next day I drive by it or walk by it, it's graffiti on the house, and that's always before the appraiser. What does the appraiser do then?
What
the
do
value
most-
goes down.
What do most graffiti artists look like?
Nobody knows. It's just the same
And
realtor.
here's my question. How,
No, stop right there.
Yeah.
When they put it on television, what do most graffiti artists look like?
darker?
No, they,
I don't know. I really can't even
They
answer that.
masked. I don't know.
No, they're not. They're pink people.
So
Every TV show I've ever seen, there's a graffiti artist putting all that stuff up. It's some pink person doing it. And I say pink because you would call him white, but I call him pink.
And every now and then they might be Latino.
And every now and again, you might get a dark-skinned folk in there.
but that, like you said, they're pink people.
Yeah. So when that thing happened to that guy and his neck got stepped on out there, what was that in Minnesota?
George Floyd, what are we talking about?
Who was under those masks that was breaking all the windows?
You're right about that. You're right about that
was-
in Ferguson, because they said it was a bunch of officers doing.
So now let's
It was
go,
a peaceful protest.
So now let's go back and see who owns that property now. See, all you have to do is chase the money.
That's right.
But that sometimes doesn't make sense, because riots, if your business is destroyed during a riot, there's no financial payout from the insurance company.
No financial payout.
Oh, so what you're saying is what those
And
businesses
so because
were
there's
owned by
no
the
financial
color.
payout, they walk away from the business because they can't afford it.
And other
Yes,
people
and then the
end up
other people
getting
get to
it.
come in. I get what you're saying.
That's the same thing happened during the riots here.
Of course.
So now you want to know how all these grocery stores and all this other stuff happened. You just answered it.
Yes, I get it now.
You know, somebody did an eloquent breakdown of the Rodney King riots too. Now it's regentified and they put a train like how they did downtown.
Yes.
It's the same play and we fall
And
for it
who's
every
all
time.
running around downtown now? Because it ain't really us no more.
The pink people. Hey, we
And
need to make a scary movie
and
about
I-
that.
Yeah, and I'm not. And,
They've
and-
already been doing
Yeah,
it.
and don't get it twisted. I am not a racist by far.
At
No,
all.
yeah.
I see opportunity. I take advantage of opportunity.
Right.
And they are opportunists. And is there something wrong with that? No. But if you're causing that opportunity to happen,
Right.
that's a problem. And it seems like that the only folks that don't get this is black folks.
Yes.
You don't understand economics.
Right.
You don't understand that you have to have insurance policies to protect your stuff.
Right.
And then if you just so happen to want to make something come up missing, that policy has to pay out.
You know, just as a side note, I don't know, we see the Boondocks. I don't know if y'all ever watched it.
Oh, of course,
all the
love
time.
it.
But do you remember the episode called The Itis?
Yes.
Do you remember what happened? So it was a burger.
Meadowlark Lemon Park.
I was getting ready to get to that. The rustler,
They watched the Boondocks.
he was playing chess the whole time.
Yes.
He was trying to buy the park, but in order to do that, what he had to do?
Yeah, get the value down.
Get the value down so he can buy it. Now he redeveloped it.
Same with his son. His son was breaking in houses that they.
Yep.
Yep,
Yeah.
the same thing. So it's the same play.
And so now we're at the last season of the Boondocks in real life, where you had to enter into slavery to keep your home.
Here we are.
So do you not know they're trying to get rid of everybody's ability to own land right now?
You know, Enkara, I'm glad you brought that up because people don't know what recently happened in New York. I know y'all do. With the
They was knocking on doors, putting people out.
that,
I didn't
and
hear
all-
about that.
And I didn't hear about that, but what I do know is they was talking about giving away people's sovereignty to the World Health Organization and the UN.
Who? I thought it was they. Now we're who? So we'll never figure out who these folks are, huh?
They said both the UN and the WHO.
So the WHO is the World Health
Organization.
Organization.
Yeah.
Let me see. What do we have here in Michigan? We have the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services. You have a place called the Human Services Department or Human Resources when you want to take care of your tax things, when you want to claim exemptions.
Human resources.
It's always something about
HR.
human, HR, human, and health that is really getting us trapped in this economic
Yes.
whatever conundrum. So we don't understand health either, do we?
No, we don't.
And we still ain't figured out who they and who is. Who are they? Oh, that's a good one.
Yes.
Ooh.
Who
That's
are
a very
they?
good question.
Who are they?
And they are who?
And it reminds me of that movie, They Live.
No.
Yes.
Oh!
Yes. If you have not watched that, you need to watch
Did
that.
you see it?
Yeah, I've seen it.
I've seen it multiple times.
But the symbolism is once you see it, you can't unsee it. There were glasses, right? It's how you view things.
But just like the Matrix, some people, I've seen it, but I don't care. I rather
Just
still-
put me back in.
Yeah, put
Cypher,
me back in.
right? Cypher.
Yeah, Cypher.
He said, if I can have these bloody steaks and I can do all of this stuff that I was doing, just put me back
I
in.
know
the
it's
What did
not
you just
real.
say? Cipher, right?
Cypher. Cypher
Okay,
me
look
back
up
in,
that
buddy.
word.
Yeah.
Put me back in the rotation.
The
I don't want
cipher
to
is
be a
the
part
code.
of it.
I don't want to remember what I know now.
Exactly.
Uh-huh.
Right?
Just like how people, like we were talking about earlier, we want you to know, but I don't want to hear it.
And you know the problem about that. So just imagine if we truly believe in reincarnation or coming back to do this again for the challenge of it. If a person like Cypher says, "Put me back in," I don't want to remember it. You know what's messed up about it is eventually because of who your entity is, you will remember. You
Yeah.
have no choice. If you're destined to do something, who is to say that I be here today speaking with you guys, right, about what we're going through? I had no clue. I couldn't even figure out what I was going to do after high school. I didn't want to go to college. I didn't see myself putting on a suit. I did not see myself in the business world sitting at some desk. So how do I know that this isn't meant to be?
Now, I got a question for you. Now, back to where you were talking about, I got that feeling like someone,
Yeah.
right? Does that all relate back to what we were talking about now? As in, when you come back, you're going to It's going to click
The
again.
memory wipe.
The memory wipe.
You want to get cipher back. I don't want to really be where heaven is because it's boring. I got everything. I got streets of gold and pearly gates, and and I can talk to God whenever I want. This is boring. And I'm supposed to watch after these fools down here making all this mess. No, that's boring. I want to go back in there and have some fun. I want to. This. I can't live like this, man.
So I want to
This
go.
is the real world. No, I don't like it.
Said now you're volunteering yourself to go back into the chaos.
Right?
Some people do. It's I don't know if you watch anime. It's like Death Note.
Of
Yes.
course.
Yeah, because
Of course.
I forgot what the guy was called. He was up top, boring.
Yes.
They enjoyed the world and went down.
That's right.
You know?
Right.
But if you look at it, that was how all gods operated, especially when you dealt with the Greco-Roman gods,
was
and
Zeus
they
and
made it with human women.
Zeus and them, they was
Zeus and them.
Zeus was all over the planet. wasn't
Zeus. I mean, if you sing it in Latin, it's Iesus.
he? Jesus.
Oh, okay.
That also happened in Squid Game too.
Yep.
You remember the rich man? We had no idea. Y'all saw it.
Oh yeah, he was in there.
Yeah.
He was in there with him. Yeah.
But he said it was fun. We had our money. We didn't know what to do with it, so I decided to go ahead and join the fun.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. So what is it? So what is it that you're seeking? And that's the question you have to ask yourself. What is it that you really truly want? For me, it's liberation, as you said earlier. Is there a difference between liberation and freedom?
Yes.
Right. Everything that's free is under the dome. You have will. God gave you will. You have the right to choose. They don't have a right to choose. They got to follow the rules. I don't even know what happens to them. What do they die? Somebody explain this thing to me. So if I'm under a free dome, then everything is free. We shouldn't be paying for anything, should we?
But if there were no laws, do you think the world would be like the Wild West? Like everything's just crazy.
I'd rather live there.
Technically, you're already in the Wild West.
We are, but according to I guess now, brainwashed people would be the ones keeping everybody in line because there's so many of them thinking this law is real, that law is real.
What
versus
about
us
the
just
stand your ground law? That returned us to the Wild West. If you're in the right sundown town at the right time and you got your little drink and your Skittles and your hoodie on, because now nobody can wear a hood, everything is for a bigger
Nobody can wear a hood.
purpose. Everything's for a bigger purpose. If I knew that all the cameras need to get your face, well, now I'm going to tell you, I'm going to start way back almost 40 years ago in the 70s and be like, there's a lot of lead in these here paint walls. These children might eat that because they already knew they were planning to send up satellites that could see through everything, and you can't see through lead.
So let me ask you this: with no laws, no constitution, do you think we would be civil?
Civil War.
I believe
We would all be better off because it would be the smack me and I'll smack you back.
and you would have more respect for that person. Now,
Now, what about somebody who just picks up a gun and shoots somebody?
So
what about that with the
did-
village?
when did guns come into play?
It was just a question.
No, I'm saying, because
arm, bro.
that's what you.
I'm
that's
sorry.
What you have to
It's
look
an
at.
arm.
That's what you have to look at. You have to look at if certain things weren't available to you at one point in time. How were you living? So if they came over here, and they saw that there were already things going on here,
A whole government
there,
already.
there was already stuff set up here. But the problem is that people just don't get along. I don't care what's taken away and what's given to you. People just don't get along. That's mine. No, it's mine. Oh, it's mine. Well, and then you got war.
You know, I'm glad you brought that up. Not to cut you off, but you know, they said that's one of the reasons why they're so called, what they call extraterrestrials, aliens, don't visit us because we're too war hungry.
War hungry. We've been to kill them.
But now here's the other part of that.
Come on. We would have killed them with their technology versus
Break
ours.
them down every chance we get.
So
As
think
soon as
about
we
this.
They coming, they
Why you
crossing
think-
galaxies.
Well, let me ask you this: why you think Bigfoot don't come out?
I don't think that's it. They just don't want to be bothered.
All right.
So if you knew,
You're not giving them
if you
enough
knew a
credit,
dog
man.
was in a room that's going to bite you, would you go in the room? You'll just leave them in there.
My whole point. That's why
But
the
who's the
aliens
dog?
wouldn't want to come here.
But who's the dog?
We are vicious. We are.
I'm just saying, you just specifically just said we will wipe them out. I'm only denying
so
that.
let's look at this, right? We have truly, I believe that all alien races exist here. And that's just me. And
Me too. I think everybody's in zones.
because I looked at a cousin of mine the other day. I swore he was a conehead. So with that being said, again, I go back to the principle that some folks just don't get along.
That's right.
And so if your agenda is not my agenda, if you don't have enough space to be away from me and my agenda, then you're in my way. And so I'm going to have to take you out. And that's the war dog-like ability of Neanderthal man. I still think we're in our Neanderthal state.
Yep.
Though they have technology, the one thing they can't stop from is dying. So if I know how to kill you, so let's think about those alien movies. Once they learn how to kill them, they wipe them out.
Don't they?
When the Independence Day, we got to break down the shield. If we can't break the shield, we can't kill them. They figured out how to break down the shield, and
but they only did that out of defense of them trying to wipe them out. Is one trying to wipe out the other?
Here's the other part, though.
And I get that. I like that.
There was something that was done in June, and I can't remember the doctor's name, and he basically exposed the fact that America and the government had all access to alien technology almost since the 40s, perfecting zero gravity and 0 point energy, all of these things. And there are people coming forward about this, right? Mm-hmm. So now I submit one of the things that he said. If you can interdimensionally travel, then how do you get hit by a thunderstorm? How are these ships here and they fell down? Because we figured out how to send lasers up and disrupt something because we want what they have.
Mm-hmm. But there's another theory that we reverse engineered several of those ships, and it's alleged humans that are
but again
in the UFOs.
If they are so advanced, how did we get a hold of their ship? How did they crash here?
No. Alleged, again, another theory. There are several theories. There are theories that they find them. A lot of archaeologists, when they discover an old ship from probably millions of years ago, they have to call a number, and they come collect the ship, and then make it seem like
nothing ever happened.
Yeah, it's just just an empty pyramid. In reality, it's real stuff.
Look at Roswell, New Mexico.
That's my point.
If we want to talk about that,
that's my whole point. If you can travel interdimensionally, that's like me saying I'm going to go to Jamaica. I'm not going to worry about food because I'm on a plane. It's only going to take me so long. I'm just going to have some little backup stuff here and there. Oh, but that plane might fail, so I better have just a few little things here and there. You can plan for a several-hour trip. You know what you have coming. If you can travel through galaxies and dimensions, how did you get caught in Roswell, New Mexico? You get what that's exactly what I'm saying. How did the ship end up here? You were already coming here doing things. You came to see some of your people, maybe drop off some snacks and do something, and somebody caught a hold of you. And you didn't make it off-world.
When Iron Man found the Tesseract, or when he got his hand on the Tesseract for the little bit of time he did, what did he say? Thor and them were calling it magic, but he said it was what? It's technology that I haven't figured out yet.
That's right.
Right? So once he figured out the technology, he was able to, and I don't think it was the Tesseract he integrated with Jarvis, but whichever Infinity Stone that he integrated with Jarvis, he figured out the technology. Right? To actually make it fit and mix. Right. So if I can figure out your law by using your definitions, I can defeat your law.
That's right.
Because there's always a hole somewhere.
That's right.
And that's what it's ever been about. So again, I'm traveling interdimensionally. I got all of this technology, but I can't stop the human code.
You can't stop the, what is it called?
UCC?
The tannins from unraveling. It's not tannins. What is it called that's around your DNA?
Telomeres?
Telomeres. You can't stop that.
Yeah.
So then because you don't have the ability to stop that, you have a weakness. Rick and Morty, right?
Oh, yeah.
I love it.
Right,
I love it.
Yes.
That brother is highly intelligent.
Yes.
And he can figure out a lot of stuff, but he really can't stop his death. The only thing he can do is figure out how to travel in time. But if you can do all of that, why can't you stop your death?
But the question, a different type of question. Who would truly want to live forever? Of course, you have those people who want to.
That's true.
But watch Interview with a Vampire. Several other movies.
Yes.
500 years is enough. 300 years is
because even with the vampire Lestat, he went to a hibernation state and he came back into the future, right? And then he still wanted to live the future. So that sounds like gods. I got everything I need. I'm bored. I'm just gonna sleep for a long. Isn't that the Odin sleep or something like that? I'm gonna sleep for a long. I'm bored, man. I done had all the drinks, women, and everything I can ever have.
So then, what would you do? Just if you believe in reincarnation, they'll just off themselves and start
a war.
Yeah.
I'm gonna start a war.
There are some rich people who purposely become poor just to see if they can get rich again.
I'm gonna start a war.
Yeah.
What about those people? I'm gonna start a war. I'm gonna fund this side and I'm gonna fund that side. Let's see who wins. I'm gonna just sit back and watch the whole war.
What would that be to you? A psychopath, or what would that be?
That would be bored.
I guess the idea
that would be the Iran Contra scandal.
Right. There you go. We're gonna put some somewhere and see what they do with.
Yes. Yes.
And we're going to catch them with it later on.
That's right.
And give them 100 years.
Yes. Right. I'm gonna put dope in the system where there was no dope.
Technically, they do that in our communities. They
That was
leave
the Iran
piles
Contra
of
scandal.
guns, piles of drugs. just
That
to
was
see.
where the Iran Contra scandal came in. If y'all watch Snowfall, they're talking about Ricky Freeway Ross,
there
the
you go.
CIA.
Yes.
And that's what they
And
were
he was
doing.
able to prove it. That's why he got off.
But that's my whole
Some
point.
people not that smart.
The government didn't want you to know that they wanted to fund another war because that was in their best interest with
Absolutely.
business.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And in order to fund that war, give it to them. They buy the most stuff. Even though they don't have any money, they buy everything. Their money is more powerful. Their dollar is more powerful. They'll buy these drugs. They'll buy this. We'll just make it where it has alkaloids that bind to melanin a little more, and
Yep.
they'll have to have it. And we'll have what we need by daylight.
Right.
And then we're going to write up laws that make sure they
That part
they
right
have
there.
3 strikes. Make sure
It's all money.
it's file the money.
Every time you get
File
a
the money.
court case, it's registered in CRIS, court registry system, right? Then they monetize or securitize it, and it's being traded on the stock market. But you know what you're not finding out?
What's that?
How much of that money was due to you because everybody got paid but you, and nothing happened without you.
So with
So you were like the middleman who never got paid.
Oh, you were the top.
You are the man.
The man, yeah.
You're the Denzel Washington of.
so is there a way to be first in line, first in time? Certain things you can file, like a
yeah.
UCC anything, or
It's called estates and trusts.
they say okay. I had that.
Being in control.
Hey,
Yes.
I ain't got a button, but yeah.
He said you got a button.
I ain't got a button for it, hey. Don't want to press the wrong button, but yeah.
Okay.
But you know what? Let me ask you this. I don't even know, is there another way to ask it? Most of our people, or people in general, they're not going to make it, are they?
Unfortunately, no.
Okay.
What percent? Is there a percent you would put on it?
I can get you into the 70s, 80s.
Oh,
Just thinking of some of the people that I deal with every day. Yeah, you probably are just not gonna make it. And the problem with me and what you'll ever know about me is I'm always trying to bring up the person next to me because I can't sit on the top alone. So if you're not just as wealthy as I am when I'm coming up, you're gonna take from me, right? And it's gonna take and add more stress to my life because I got to keep bringing you up to me, right? So let's look at a society that's, which I don't believe could ever happen. But let's look at a society that is in total balance. What just happened?
I think it happened in
It
past
has.
history.
It has
yes.
happened. Look at Rome.
Yes.
Rome. So the echelon.
Rome. Wait, Rome? You would really say Rome?
Yes,
Oh,
definitely.
wow.
Why Rome?
And the reason why is the echelon got balanced. The echelon got bored. You know what? I'm tired of the gladiator arenas.
I don't agree. Go ahead.
Yeah, and that's fine. Because I'm not here to be agreeable.
Yeah.
I'm here to be disagreeable as I possibly can because I'm going to challenge that brain, bro.
So it all goes back to what you were just talking about. I'm bored. Let's do something
I'm
fun.
bored.
Yeah, let's do
I
some
am
fun.
bored. Let's create a war and start all over again.
I thought the riots. I'm sorry. I thought the games were to distract the people because they were trying to rise
other
up
things,
again.
doing other things. So the top echelon of Rome were the bottom feeders at one point in time, and they fed off the people. They gave the people a dream. Rome was a dream. It was a whisper in somebody's mind.
Yes.
Let me create this
Yes.
and see how far it goes.
And now to prove that, here's something. Everybody's heard of the ghetto, right? Who lives in the ghetto?
Supposed to be the Jewish people. If you do
Thank
You do your
you. And
research.
that's the whole point right there.
And now who's on top?
Y'all figure out what I'm
You're
talking
bringing
about.
me around slowly with what you're saying. I get it now. This was designed for you, but you've made your way out, put somebody else in place.
And you have to have somebody. So you know about the river Styx?
No.
Okay, so way back in the day, you remember when the cowboys and other people in other movies would die and they put the coins over their eyes?
Yeah. I thought
That
it was to keep their
pay
eyes
the
from-
toll. That was to pay a toll for the river Styx. And there was a man who had to be on that boat to take you across the boat of souls. So guess what? Well, most people don't know. See, this is where the shaman comes in. In order for that man to ever be free, he had to get somebody to take his place.
Subrogation.
This is what's different, though. As far as taking places, the ghettos were designed for the Jewish people. Everybody piled up against alleged black people and forced them to be the new
Ghetto.
impoverished people. Yes, to get the people of the ghetto.
So they tricked us to take their place.
Did they trick us? No.
Yes.
I like to think because the government was against us,
But-
Jewish
but-
people,
Hold on.
other
It's still
Italians.
a trick. It's still a trick. And here's why. Going back to the Wizard of Oz, Everybody is represented in our now in that. Dorothy was the American people. Her shoes were originally silver against the gold standard.
Which would have been feminine.
And then you were dealing with what? You were dealing with the farmers originally. And the farmers needed to have a
Brain.
because they didn't know that they were the best thing smoking. They got tricked into being the Tin Man tax ID number. So now they made you without a
Heart.
and you're not real.
And you lost your courage.
And that's where you are right now. That's where we are right now.
We're on the road. We just haven't started walking.
No, we've been walking and we are still lost.
We ain't got
So we're in the
there.
wilderness.
You know, it's very interesting that it's connecting certain type of dots in my brain. You said we're walking. Look what happened in the 60s. We marched.
Oh, what happened when we marched? They put the dogs out on you. They got high-powered hoses, sprayed you down, and then there was some dark-skinned folks in the windows telling you to get back in the house. This is what they're gonna do to you, and you didn't listen to them because you were so caught up on somebody's dream.
Or do you think marching really does anything?
Marching
No.
never does anything.
When has it ever done?
That's
It
why I
puts
just-
everybody out in the forefront so they can be seen, cataloged, categorized, and mowed down.
Just look at the bull, the Illuminati, the Skull and Bones. Most of them work in secrecy till they have enough control to go into the public. Why haven't we learned to do that?
What did Tony Stark do?
I'm trying to think. He did a lot.
So before he announced he was Iron Man, he was operating in the private.
Yes.
Did Batman ever get figured out as being Bruce Wayne?
No.
Because he wanted to remain in his private sense. And what was the difference between the two? Absolutely nothing. They both had estates and trusts. But however, one person wanted to take his estate and trust into the public. The other one decided to remain private.
Just like in Black Panther.
They didn't want to.
They don't want a resource. They don't want them to get nothing.
They didn't want
resource.
it, no.
They had everything, but they started getting bored.
They didn't know.
Oh yes,
No,
they did.
because they beat everybody.
They couldn't.
No. They're not bored because the outside people want them, and that's what's keeping them entertained, giving them something to do.
So why not remain in Wakanda? I don't have.
No,
to
they
help.
do remain. Oh no, I get what you're saying.
they
They
told-
started
I thought of another
outsourcing
thing.
their
Yeah.
technology.
They are.
They shared it with everybody.
To specific groups of people,
And,
which it won't.
and
stay
even with that
them.
being said, so that goes back to the alien story. So you got this
Okay.
powerful alien that comes down and he gets defeated by us with no technology. That was the same thing that happened with most Wakandan actions. When the people got the intelligence or the technology from Wakanda, they found a way in. Right? The vibranium is a part of Captain America's shield. Why? Because they raided Wakanda. And they got a piece of vibranium and they took it back and created a shield.
But they didn't know what to do with it as well.
Exactly. Right? But how did they find out how to do? Some scientists, they re-engineered the vibranium, figured out its substance, and now it's somebody's shield and other things. So now they're after Wakanda. We got to get back there.
Okay.
And
Where do they go to get the stuff for cell phones?
Africa, allegedly, with all the they out. Yeah.
Okay.
the most mineral-rich place on earth.
Art imitates life in every possible way if you know what you're looking at.
I definitely agree with that because I see subliminals in movies all the time, and I'm in the theater looking at people like, I didn't see what I was.
But you know what? They putting it on extra thick now. Especially when you look at these new Netflix series and stuff like that. They want you to know. It's just that you're not listening because you're asleep.
They have to follow universal law.
Let me just say another movie with a question mark and pick your brains about it. They cloned Tyrone.
they are.
Okay, so let's hit it. Again, if I can get you, because Rick and Morty talks about clones, right?
No, yeah.
Every time he dies, he has a backup clone. Operation Phoenix,
Yeah,
right?
the story doesn't end, pretty much, yeah.
How far back does your DNA go? 14 generations. How do you know that's not just you recycling? Okay, let's go way back. Jet Li, the one.
I love that movie.
What was he doing?
Trying to be
Going across dimensions, trying to be the only one. He was basically getting information. Everybody made him look like a what? Like a villain. He was getting rid of every peripheral part of him to bring it together into one.
Do you think our, what's the word I'm looking for? The cities we live in have anything to do with our development?
All day.
So do you think I'm talking about the heavy melanated man, do you think we're intended to live in what type of environment, if it was up to you?
Me?
A forest,
personally,
sea, mountain?
Not in a city.
Ever.
Right? City takes away from life. Why? You got a bunch of buildings with a bunch of materials blocking out the sun.
I
And a
agree.
bunch of technology that might interfere with your frequency.
Exactly. So take, for instance, the green man in front of the 2 Woodward Avenue, right? That's the Coleman A. Young Municipal Center.
Yeah. With the dude holding up.
The spirit of Detroit.
What is he holding? In the bottom hand, or the hand that sits lower of the balance, is the people. Wife, husband, and child. And the upper hand looks like the sun, but I believe it to be Saturn or some form of. Both of these entities are gold, aren't they?
Yes.
He's green. Sound familiar? Wizard of Oz, huh? So if he's looking at his focus is here on the people, he's turned away from the source, and his focus is on the people. And it just so happens that this statue is in front of the municipal center. So all he wants to do is take as much as he can from the people to keep them away. And he's blocking their vision of God. Sun is purported to be God. And all that focus to do what? To ruin these people. These people. City.
I'm going to go look close at those people and see who they...
And the green, if you haven't figured it out, is that paper.
Right.
And it's also a transmuting utility because it's copper. So now let's really get into it real quick, right? Back in the day, we talking about in the 1800s, what did they have to focus on? Nothing but each other. 1700s, the same. Nothing but each other, right? So the powers and the abilities of these people were way different than now. You had an old lady wake up, so-and-so pregnant. No, I'm not pregnant. Oh, she gonna have a baby. Next thing you know, so-and-so is pregnant. Did she speak it into existence or did she already know? Because she reached into the ether. There was nothing to distract you from being one with yourself and others. It's all shared consciousness. If I show him a symbol on the other side of the earth, by next year, everyone here on the other side of the world will know it. And they did that with certain symbols in the UK. And a year later, they tested people over here across the pond. We're all shared consciousness. It's about how much of that consciousness you tap into. They can now tell what it is you're thinking. Did you guys hear about that? The AirPods, the Apple AirPods.
I heard about that, yeah.
Actually reading your mind and reading your thoughts. Because that's the only thing you're not protecting. That's a vibration. That's a frequency. You were giving it away and didn't even know. And now they know exactly what you were thinking when you were asleep, all these different things.
I'm glad you touched on that because the whole conspiracy with Kamala Harris earrings. Now they're saying there are headphones in Switzerland that look just like it.
Bluetooth.
Bluetooth, yeah.
Yeah, they're talking.
They look like
for her.
earrings.
They got people in her ear, say this, say that, so she can appear to be perfect during
Watch
these debates.
Manchurian Candidate.
I love that.
Yeah, the one with Denzel. Yeah.
The old one.
Oh,
and
the one
then the one.
I only saw the one with
I've been
Denzel.
trying to find out the one with Frank Sinatra.
Archive.org is a beautiful place. You can also get Zardoz on there. That movie Zardoz he was talking about. They have a lot of movies and books in there. Archive.org is completely free.
And so,
Archive that, got to write that one down.
so touching on this, the shared consciousness thing, what is the difference between Tesla and Edison?
One was really talented. The other one had money.
Huh?
Well, actually, okay, go for it.
Right, but one taught DC current as the
AC.
other taught
AC.
AC current, but it
Yeah.
was still current, right? They were still on the electrical thing. But the difference in why Tesla's ideas were shot down because he wanted to make everything electric, where you don't have to rely on gasoline as a source polluting the world, right? Purportedly historical is what they say. But however, Edison, having all his money and propaganda behind him,
He's a businessman.
businessman said, no, AC is the way. Let's use that and blah, blah, blah. And let's pollute the world. Well, why? When you could have had a rich nutrient place without all of these fossil fuels being burned and creating this purported hole in the atmosphere. When you figure that one out, you're on your way.
Yeah.
But you had these two ideas. They both dealt with electricity. But for some reason, these two men were the only ones that got that idea. No, they weren't.
There's a few others. They just
But
didn't
They
get out
just
there.
didn't get out there like
Yeah.
they did, right?
Do you think they were bored too?
Of course.
Everybody's bored. That's why we develop interests and hobbies.
Of course, right?
But see, they were bored with a lot of resource.
They had too
Who
many
is they? Don't say Tesla.
So Tesla had resources. His family was pretty well off.
He was, but he had times of poverty due to the contracts he signed early in his career.
Oh, contracts?
Yes, I
And
had to say it.
early in his career, and when was Tesla running?
And he actually worked for
Yeah.
Edison.
Yeah.
A lot of people
right,
don't know that.
which is how he got those ideas.
Yeah.
Let's not forget Sarnoff either.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Everybody like to neglect him when it comes to this conversation.
So
course.
other than Tesla, there are several inventors who have tried to have free energy devices.
Yes.
Cars that ran on water and other things. How do you feel about, or do you have a thought about them all magically being unalived? Do you think that's a coincidence?
Of course, again, you're in my way. My agenda is to produce AC current. You want DC, you're in my way, right?
Money is truly the root of all evil.
The love of
For the
money.
love of money.
The love of it.
Man.
Think about this. If I made all this money doing this one thing, and you, being who you are, could take it all away from me, why would I let you continue to
Can't you just
breathe?
tag along with who's on the rise?
So, again, if that's the case, then why do we have meds and pills when the plants do the same thing? Because somebody's not getting money, one. Two,
True.
there's no death happening.
Which is why the witches and warlocks had to be taken out, right? And they created the apocalypse, or the apothecaries, I'm sorry.
No, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, so they created those apothecaries, which were the modern day pharmacies at the time. So I took a thing that healed you, right, and made it something that would just cure you or fix you for a minute, right? So it wasn't that the plant is not doing its job anymore. It's the things you're adding in, which is where your side effects come from. So the side effects are just these mixtures that you put together to try to cure or heal me that didn't work out too well. So now I got to go take another thing for that side effect, right? When I could have just taken this one plant. Like there was a purple dead nettle that grew in my yard in the middle of the winter. That's not humanly possible according to science.
Right.
But for some reason, this plant made itself known to me personally. I'm quite sure others around the world, because it's a shared conscious, that I can heal a lot of things. And I'm going to show you how strong I am. I'm going to grow while there's still snow on the ground.
You know, I got a question for you.
What did you do with the plant, though, before he goes to his
So
question?
I picked them, I looked them up, researched them myself, and I found that the leaves, once you dry them out, or whether you use them as they are as you pick them, is a natural purgative, a natural diuretic, diaphoretic. And it also is a natural astringent, right? In its one sense, and there's more things that it does. I just can't remember everything. It's a natural dye because of the flower that it produces. The flower also is sweet. You can eat them in your salads and things like that. And this one plant grew during COVID-19.
And what's the name of it again?
Purple dead nettle.
I might have that. I might have that. I got some stuff.
It grew as soon as I found out about COVID and the bullshit that, excuse my language, the bull crap that they were running. That plant was the prevalent plant to show me that if there is anything wrong with you because of what's happening, we can help.
Yeah, we got you. And you were wise enough to pay attention. Some
Wise
people
enough to pay
don't
attention.
walk straight past their omens
That's right.
and signs.
That's right.
You know, I want to get one more in current events real quick. You know, this whole Tupac case is coming back up.
Oh, is it really?
Uh-huh. So I just want to know, what is the reason for them reopening the case, in your opinion?
In my opinion,
Both.
do you have an opinion on that?
Honestly, so first, what is music? Music is made of two words. Muse, which is to change one's thinking, and the Latin suffix "ic," which means the order of. So being in music is the order of affecting one's thinking. It's almost more powerful than religion and government. So if I were going to let you be there, you better believe I have to be able to control it. The one thing that we forget about Tupac was he had more consciousness than almost anybody. Because if you came from my day, which we're not going to talk about, you had X-Clan. And the guy who was from X-Clan, his direct descendant was who? Carter G. Woodson, who wrote The Miseducation of the Negro. All of a sudden, all of that so-called conscious rap is gone because they had a little meeting, said this is what we want you to do. Now you have gangster rap, you have hardcore rap, because the mind is all, and the mind is God. So if I can take God from you and turn him into the devil immediately and make you think, you don't want to be some sap sucker talking about what, are you going to wear some beads and stuff? Get this gold, man. What you doing? You don't want that. You want these cars and these women, man. But back in the day, them women didn't look like that. Now you getting BBLs and Ozempic and you doing all this stuff. So now you've taught me to hate myself. And you taught me to be something other than what I should be. Just as women were starting to turn back into the goddesses that they're supposed to be, now you want us to all wear these weird wigs and pat our heads and talk like this, okay, yeah. Period. City girls.
And it also sounds like the estate might be in some turmoil.
All day. All day.
So if he had an estate and Tupac was the selling brand, I need to pump the brand back up. Because there are still Tupac lovers out there that will buy anything Tupac right now.
That is very true.
So it always go back to that. It always go back to the contract.
Look at what happened with Jay Dilla.
Yeah.
I love Jay Dilla.
Yep, Jay Dilla.
So the guy from Black Sheep was trying to get with the parent or the mother of Jay Dilla and bring some of this stuff back out. And somebody was like, no, don't do that because, and it became prevalent. Who owns this music? Wait a minute. Who's got rights? The mama? No, only certain stuff. And then this one and this one and this. When you start asking too many questions about hands and pots and who actually has something, somebody's got to go. And they make it a dead issue and then they bring it back up. Even bigger, it's not even about Tupac. It's about the fact of what Tupac represented. He was in jail. If he would have preached everything in jail that he was preaching here, you remember, we are hungry, please let us in. Everybody knows about that, right? So now if I can get you to forego anything that you fear and follow me, and we're going to take everything back and we're going to do this, that, and the other. Okay, we didn't think that through. If you don't hurry up and kill that, you know what? Because he can get everybody to stop being the N-word or whatever and be Dr. Huey P. Newton, who was a PhD because everybody talks about the Black Panthers. Huey P. Newton was a PhD. He was a doctor.
He was.
Right.
Nobody ever says that, oh, Huey, free Huey. Free Dr. Huey P. Newton,
Right.
who was a PhD of what? Social science. There was a problem with the social science. He saw the system was sick, so he created that. Now, he also had the what? Food program, right? Now it's known as the WIC program. The government took that and made it the WIC
They take
program.
everything.
And they rename
And we give it right away.
Even some of our inventions, like the cotton gin and other
Because
things.
you abandoned.
Yeah.
I do
I mean,
have a,
look at the music. I mean, hip hop, you gave it away. Now, in 30 years, they're gonna say Tupac was white or pink. Pink.
The
pink,
human
pink,
beatbox was reinvented by Pinks.
Pink.
Now, I do have a question. Out of all materials in the world, why is gold the cornerstone of currency or of money in general?
What is the only thing more valuable than gold?
Melanin.
Exactly.
How is gold more valuable than silver, though? In other
Because somebody told you it was, and you have the confidence as a consumer to accept it. Because tomorrow, if everybody on TV was wearing silver, and that was what I was getting back to with The Wiz. What did they say? I want to be seen green, wouldn't be caught dead red. That's the propaganda. They told you. BOGO. No. Hey. Look at the paper
I'm saying
money.
quartz crystals. We have so many jade.
But now they tell you that you're worshiping rocks, but they need those rocks to make watches, computers,
Yes.
TVs, everything. But
Everything-
if you don't hold on to it, somebody else can take it for what they want it for.
They did the same thing and they cloned Tyrone too. I'm willing to believe they cloned Tyrone was the 21st century of The Wiz or Wizard of Oz.
I could believe that. And then also scientifically, you got to remember, gold is highly malleable and highly conductive, right? So in order to press current, right, you can use gold in any mechanism.
Because you can't get enough melanin. When you guys get a chance, go on YouTube because you can watch it for free. Everybody watch Cosmic Slop.
Yes, yeah, that's a, that,
I never heard
Yes,
of it. Cosmic
yes.
Slop.
It was made by
Yes.
your boy, not just knee deep, he was totally deep.
you need to freak with me.
He made this, and it was like an anthology. And guess what?
What is this, a song?
No, it's
George
a
Clinton.
song. It is
I know
a
it's George
song,
Clinton, but
but
it's
it's a movie too. It is a song.
never heard of
Cosmic
it.
Slop is a song,
Yeah.
but
Shout out
it's
to
a
George
movie.
Clinton. I
Yes.
love-
So, okay, real quick. So the very first scene was an alien who quickly realized that we were so recoiled by the way he looked, he changed his appearance to who? Ronald Reagan. And his voice like Ronald Reagan. And we will fix everything that's wrong. All we want are all of your inhabitants.
Yep.
Who have 1,500 milligrams of melanin per square inch of their body, which works out to the paper bag color and darker.
Yep.
You don't get to ask what we're going to do with them. We just want all your melanated people.
Now, I need to know.
In America. Notice they didn't say across the pond. He
Right
said
here.
In America.
Is there something special about melanated people from America versus the rest of the world?
What's
Yeah.
your blood type?
It's all come down to RNA. I mean, not DNA. Yeah, RNA.
What is your blood type?
I was just asking. I really don't know my blood type.
You don't?
I really
you
don't.
should find out.
They told me years ago, and I always forget. I always
you
forget.
should find out. Go to your doctor and have them tell you what your blood type is.
For those of you that don't know nothing about me, I had a kidney transplant going on 15 years ago, and I had to know my blood type.
Okay.
Yeah, so I don't want to say it on air, but I know my blood type.
Yeah.
I know my
And
blood
it's
type.
important because now they have this thing, eat right for your type.
Yeah, yep.
They tell you, if you have this blood, this is how you ought to eat. So I'm going to tell you something. I am a person that have a lot of moles, right?
Right.
What most people don't know about melanated individuals is superfluous moles, things that stick out, directly come from our inability to process a protein that deals with meat or flesh.
Yeah, we're not supposed to be eating that.
We're supposed to be eating it, but in very small
agree with that.
amounts.
I don't agree with
And
that.
I get that.
And then again, it depends on your blood.
And that exactly what I was about to say.
I feel like all heavy melanated people, whatever you want to word it, should only be eating fruit.
Check your
vegetables.
teeth. Check your teeth. Now, let's really get into it because these people who say that they're Hebrew Israelites, they have something called the what diet? Nazarene diet. And they don't even eat grapes. And you're not supposed...
You're supposed to be eating grapes.
No. Again, see? It's
Eating
about what
grapes?
you know, not
Okay,
how you feel.
Go for it.
So in the Nazarene diet, you don't eat grapes. I was a Hebrew Israelite for quite some
Is there a
time.
reason why? Can you break it down why?
It's supposed to represent something. I don't want to get into that here, but you do your research. Now, here's the next thing, right? Everything that you see represents something in the body. If you look at the Christ on the cross, it's representing a certain part of your mind and your brain.
Right. That,
These
But the
things
grapes
were
represent the lymphatic
microcosm,
system.
macrocosm.
Grapes have tannins in it that pulls toxins out of your body.
There's
So
a lot of other things that do that too.
grapes is like the top one, though.
And
Says
are we
who?
talking seeded or unseeded?
Seeded. We're talking seeded.
Because can you find seeded grapes nowadays?
I have a bag.
all.
You got a
I need to
bag?
plant them.
Yeah.
Every time I get some, I save
And
the
now
seeds.
again, you have to think about who and where you got that from.
The information?
Go look up those farms of where you're getting your seeded stuff, because what people don't know is who deals with the FDA
Are we talking about Monsanto or are we leading there?
all day and twice on Sunday. Who was the top man in Monsanto?
The guy Supreme Court?
Yes.
Yeah. I can't think
So
of
now if you follow the humiliated man,
Oh, come on. Well, yeah.
what's the humiliated man? That was a regime that the Masonics held before they lifted you up to a higher degree, right? Mm-hmm. So because he was most beloved by God, the government of democracy, Monsanto rewards all of their faithful with positions in the FDA or somewhere higher up in the government of God or the government of democracy. So he was one of the top lawyers. Then he became the Supreme Court justice. What did they do to humiliate him? Anita Hill. Then after that, you got cleared and now you're up here. Okay. Make it make sense. Because now, if you're a farmer, they're going to go through all your bank accounts because you want to save seed and you don't want to get their stuff. Well, our stuff blew over here. So now everything
Their
that you
stuff
have
is
that
inferior.
It is.
everything that you have that produces a seed 9 times out of 10 still comes from them, and it might not reproduce also.
I feel like, again, with the estates and trusts, there have to be some way around hey, stay over there. You guys aren't allowed to do business here.
I wouldn't be growing outside, that's for sure.
Oh, yeah, because what comes out the sky with the chemtrails and everything. And plus other things.
Aluminum, barium, and strontium.
Bury 'em. So you are right. There is always a way around. There's always a loophole, right? You just have to find it, right? So the loophole is understanding commerce.
That's right. Everything's transactional.
And I say understanding with a
How can you say everything's transactional?
Hold on. Okay.
No, I'm talking about.
I'm
you
gonna
grow-
tell you. I'm gonna tell you. First and foremost, did you know that so the word license means to make something, we just said this, to make something that would otherwise be illegal, legal. Where did the marriage license come from? from the true. Oh, I'm gonna make so many people mad. I'm so sorry, but the truth is always true and it's soothing in a belly full of lies.
Tell it.
Misogyny was actually the mixing of the white and black race having children, and for that you had to have a what? License to marry and do that, because that was never supposed to happen. Okay, we're gonna put that to the side. I have a lot of mixed people.
Before you go into that, who do you think desired who more?
It doesn't even matter because you have masculine and feminine. If that's the case, then everybody wanted the woman, because it says even the angels, when they fell, they saw the daughters.
But I'm
they
hearing
didn't say
that.
they made it with men.
But you know, that go back to that case, Loving versus Virginia, too.
Thank you.
Because
Okay.
they had to go to court to get a marriage license so they can get married because one was white, one was black.
And they're going to produce children. So now, going back, a lot of women have to take Rogam shots when they are Caucasian and they are impregnated with a melanated gene because the body can't hold it, wants to kill it. And it's not all, but it's a great amount. And I bet you $1 to a dime, those who don't have to get those Rogam shots, if you go back in your history, you got a little more darkness in the corner than you know.
What kind of shot is that?
Rogam shot is to change their DNA a bit to be able to be complementary to the melanated seed that they're carrying. Naturally, the woman's body wants to get rid of this thing, but after so long, it's accepted. There are some women who are Caucasian, whatever you want to call them, when they are impregnated by melanated males, their body can't hold it and they have to get these shots. Look it up, a Rogam shot, in order to hold that child. They never ever tell you who these women are and that they have to do that, though.
Is the body really trying to get rid of it? Because when a baby is being conceived in any color of woman, the body immediately starts putting nutrients in all that it needs direct.
That's during the egg penetrating the sperm penetrating the egg.
So I'm saying, what if because
before that, woman's body is designed
to
kill every sperm cell that enters.
That is true, but what I'm saying is, as soon as it penetrates the egg, what if their bodies just can't hold on to? This is supposed to be a strong because it's quote unquote black sperm or black seed that their bodies are.
So
actually dying.
let me tell you this real quick. You've heard of different computer things, and you hear of something called what do you call it? Bad code, right?
Yes.
So now, if you take all the crayons, we're going to do this really simple. You take all the crayons in the box, and you all over one piece of paper. What is the color you get?
Brown, black.
Black. If you start to take something and scrape on that paper, you'll see the different colors. So I'm going to go into it in a slightly scientific way. Every melanated, especially heavy melanated, and how do we check this? Look at the people in Africa who they are both pure African and they've had 2 or 3 children, and all of a sudden they have a blue-eyed, blonde-haired baby that DNA matches theirs, but they are blonde. They are not albino. They do not have vitiligo. Nobody talks about that, right? So let's break it down. If in this box of crayons exists every genetic code to every color or race that there is, then when I take out one, this is where we get isolating isotopes and things like they did for the foxglove plant, where they made the first blood pressure medication and so on and so forth. That's where you get these side effects from. Just like Jews are cursed with something called Tay-Sachs. They have a certain bloodline, and you have to be known of what? A certain mother to be considered to be Jewish,
you spell
not the
Tay-Sachs?
father. Taysachs, like Goldman Sachs, Tay-Sachs. Oh, okay.
Peep the connection.
So now, when you have a melanated being, you will find all of the genetic code for all races. Now, when you get a white man, a Scandinavian man, a Mexican, they only have the DNA or the genetic code for whatever is in their region. Not everything. It's like a skeleton key versus let me get a key so I can open that door.
So, sorry.
No, that's it.
Okay, so do you feel like there are a lot of people in society who don't want to be with their mothers in a sense. I don't want to be with a woman looks like my mother. Women, I don't want to be with a man looks like my father. Are we making ourselves weaker at the end of the day? If you want to,
if you don't mind, I can answer that because I don't. And I'm going to disagree to agree with you. I am searching for my mother.
okay.
Right? I don't care what I do, how she looks. If she don't look like her, I'm looking for something in her that is like my
That
mother.
nurturing.
The Oedipus complex.
That's
So
real.
now, and that's true, but here's the other part of that. What people don't pay attention to, we're going right back to white and black Tantra. Every time you ejaculate, you're shortening your lifespan.
So that,
Every time a woman has a child, she shortens her lifespan.
Everything shortens your lifespan, though. Cigarettes,
Not
going outside,
Okay, but we're
inhaling.
talking about natural.
Okay.
Natural process of mating shortens the lifespan. That spasm or orgasm. In French, it's called, an orgasm is called le petit mort, the little death.
and why is that? Why is it shortening human lifespan?
You're taking away from yourself.
So in a man's ejaculate, only 2% of that is used to make babies. Everything else that is in ejaculate comes directly from the brain, cerebrospinal fluid.
So do you believe in Christ consciousness, abstaining to have longer life, more vitality,
I
raise your
believe
frequency?
in the original thing that is called the what? When Christ was born, they called it the Immaculate
Immaculate
Conception.
Conception, yes.
Immaculate Conception is a white tantric thing where the man sits and the woman sits on top. There is no up and down and none of that. They sit for hours of meditation. One ovum and one egg, or one ovum and one sperm is released. There is no ejaculation. So if it's meant to be, it will be.
Right.
I believe in that. Now, the question is, who do you know that's not going to be the animal and
Move around.
You know, I'm glad you brought that up because I don't know if you ever heard of something called the no fat movement.
yes, no fat.
And that was one of their points. They said the more
Yes.
you do that, the shorter your lifespan goes too.
Yes.
So they was
But it's
telling
a fun life.
But they
It
was
feels
but
good.
they was telling the truth about that the whole time. And people, because of their pleasures and because of
Because if you want a race of slaves, you have to make it.
That's where
You have
pornography
men
came from.
who don't, men
said-
and women,
that's where it
who
came
don't
from.
have
That's
a
where pornography
proper
came
mental
from.
process, and we call them developmentally challenged. Back in the day, if you listen to Hitler, they weren't supposed to have children.
bottom feeders.
But they have children now. And what's going on? Even worse degeneration, right? But they still are taught to work jobs and all that other stuff. Oh, they can lead a normal life because somebody needs the slave population. This is not about you. This is about you choosing from the clothes I put out for you to choose from. You are not ever really in control.
Never had a choice.
Because you have the two thieves, and this is the Christ. How many times are you using the Christ versus the two thieves? If you see the bigger piece of chicken, I want the bigger piece of chicken. I want the bigger stack of cash. More money, more problems if you listen to what they said.
You know-
But you don't care about the more problems. You care about the more money.
You know, this reminds me of an old gentleman told me. He said most people say they want freedom, but they never had it.
Is that wrong? To window shop?
But there's nothing
Is
wrong.
it,
Hold on,
is it
time
wrong
out.
to window shop?
Yes. Yes and no. Why would you be window shopping for something you already have?
You don't know you have it.
That would be one.
Oh.
So if we're being really okay, I'm not gonna say that. Continue.
So when I say window shop, that comes in a lot of different frames.
Yes, I was about to be very literal.
If you have a woman and you already got a woman, why are you looking at that other woman? Because they tell you there's nothing wrong with that, right? But there is,
That's
because
for
now the
those who
Christ is
believe in
being
monogamy.
crucified between the two thieves.
That's for those who believe in monogamy. If we're taking that path,
But now you have to exist in balance because women were and had more than one husband. Oh, nobody ever likes to bring that up. Again, balance on everything. At the end of the day, if you follow polygamy or otherwise, how are you creating a stable nation? Because that one's over there and that one's over there. And while you're with this one and this one needs your guidance, you're over here. So now this thing is passed.
I just don't agree with the government telling us one. You can only have one.
But it's-
So
Again.
a woman, if she
But-
desires and can handle 10, go for it.
But-
Same for
but
a man.
here's-
If we can desire more, some people it's
Here's
customized.
again, in a spiritual situation, how much energy do you have? Because you lose.
Every single
As a man, you lose. You only got 15 to 20 minutes tops of anything good you can give.
most.
Most. So now you're going to do that to this one, this one, this one, and this one. And now you're weakening the quality of what you're putting out as far as a product of child,
And
too.
that's what they want.
Now, do you believe?
So it's a population thing.
It is a ego thing also.
It definitely is.
Because at the end of the day, if I ask the average man, Will you be husband number 2? Hell no. What you talking about?
Yep.
It's supposed to be like this, and the men's supposed to. And then they bring up, well, the animals, and, well, you can only have one baby at a time. Well, you can only govern one family at a time. It was also something given to you because they know your ego would go forward, and that's how you further degrade your own nation and your own society.
Did the word family mean something different
Yes,
many
it
years
does.
ago?
It means something different according to Black's law. And so when you mentioned that the government only allows you to have one marriage is what they allow you. You
Yes.
can't have multiple marriage licenses, but you can have multiple women under polygamy, right? So what you just said is that, again, not only is it your choice, but you also have somebody governing you, telling you what it is. According biblically, right, there was no marriage license.
Ever.
Right?
Common law, wasn't
Solomon
it?
didn't have a marriage license to have 700 wives and concubines. He didn't have that. He just figured he wanted all of these women. But what did God tell him? He said, I really don't want you to do that because it's going to take away from your love of me. Why did he say that? Because by him taking on all of these different women, and you have to psychologically look at this, he was taking on too much for himself. He couldn't stay focused on one thing, which was God, right? So if I'm not focused on my God center, this woman's religion is a part of mine, so is hers, what she believes in too, and I have to take all of these different entities into one me to provide for 700. Now, I got the wealth to do it, right, which means I can take care of all of them, but ain't enough me. And if it's not enough me, I'm asleep all the time. I'm raising hundreds of babies that I don't really have time for because I have a kingdom to run. But if I'm in control, and this is, and I don't want the men to get mad at me because I believe in polygamy, but I believe in polygamy for reasons of reproductive purposes only, right?
Not financial. Financial is
I don't even look at it in financial. If my people are suffering because we don't have the mindset to build our economies up, one seed from me personally, right, for the child to bring into this planet will be enough seed to create another leader. You understand what I'm saying? But if I'm spreading myself thin, partying, drinking, smoking, and all this and that drinking and smoking changes what's going into her, right? It's not focused. It's not a focused intent to bring another leader into this world. I'm bringing another idiot in. Because what is he going to do? He's going to do the same thing Dad's doing because he's got the gene
And
can I- if
to
I may,
smoke and drink.
so you just said building an empire. Okay, so first and foremost, that's putting the cart before the horse. Because that means that you've put the time in and now you have all of this money and these resources to fund and make the empire. Because now you're having all these children and you can't pay for private school because you got all these women and these children.
That's not what I was saying about
no.
the
I'm
financial.
showing you something about it financially because technically it's just like a pimp. One guy and all these women. Where the money coming from?
I'm saying if you all are working, living under one roof, sleeping
I
different,
think
just
that
to
would
build
be-
up. It
So
may,
again, how are all these women living under one roof?
You will have
Yeah,
a
sleep
chaotic,
schedules.
you will have a chaotic house, buddy.
let
may-
me say this. I see where they're coming from because you're thinking of on a worldly standpoint. Because you're talking about working and this and that, but if we in a just society, it will be definitely
and
towards
who's
the family.
raising the children still? Now your children
one
are
of the
still-
women.
One of them.
Hey,
Which one? If they have
not raising,
children,
not
which
raising
one?
them in shifts. I hate to use that word.
But
Hey,
where are you?
again,
this is just
so
a hypothetical. This isn't my doctrine.
No. I'm following you, but I'm trying to get you to see something. You see these pieces of paper?
Yes.
They're all small pieces of paper, right? I have to take each and every one of them, and I can only put so much information or so much onto one piece of paper before I run out. Now I got to have another one and another one and another one and another one. Versus me taking a whole notebook or a whole sheet of paper that's bigger than that and putting all thought or whatever on that one to communicate this message. It's basically the same thing, but you're going to lose a lot of quality because you just talked about shifts. So now, here's the difference. I personally don't believe that a woman should raise a little boy. After a certain age, he should be with the men.
I
But
agree.
that
I agree
man
with
is
that part.
busy, so you're going to take these boys with you to the other wife's house and the other wife's house. Who's raising those boys? And what kind of person are they being taught to be? Because each one of them has a different spirit because of the mother and a different perception. So now how would you put all of that together if you didn't already have the schools and everything else in place before you start this empire?
Now, what you just said, do you agree that a single father after a certain age should let the daughter go to the mother? You're 13 now, live with your mom because it's...
Again, back in the day, in between 5 to 9 years old, the boys went with the men, the soldiers, the warriors. So that would be the same for the girl or for the feminine.
I was just making sure it was equality in a statement.
No. This is both ways because how can you teach me to be a woman? You're going to do this. You're going to teach me to be the woman that left you, the one that you wanted. Just like these women turn their older sons into their man. Instead of being a man, which you can't raise because you aren't one. And if you were able to pick or be with one or follow under the leadership and unction of one, there would still be a whole family unit.
A lot. See, based off what you're saying, a lot of women are lost because solely for the sake of $1.
But wait.
And a lot of men are
Where?
lost, too.
But time out. So if the woman is not dealing with other women, she's dealing with a man who don't know himself. And that's how she got lost. Reality sets in. You got Cardi B's and all these different things. They turn the heads. When real skinny, I'm just as big as the end of this, up and down. And in most areas of the hood, if I was a booger, I wouldn't get picked. Unless you start talking to me and you see that my value is here, not here. But thanks to hip hop and to music and to helly weird, as I call Hollywood, hella weird, now you guys are taught to not look at that. Well, we like her and she likes her too, and they like us. Now you are pushing something different. And when you are watching TV, listening to music, and watching movies, you become a passive learner. You go from a alpha to a theta, meaning that the stuff you would not normally go along with, now, yeah, I like that. I like that.
That's people
Like case in example, P. Diddy.
That's people being brainwashed.
Like
though.
Diddy.
But how,
Get some of
okay,
your
so let
friends.
me
I'll
ask
get
you
some of
something.
my friends, and we can do this.
If
every
you
weekend.
were not following any Black Power movements, any religious movements, it would just be you to yourself. Do you think you would have the same mindset that you have right now?
Can't
Probably
ask me that.
not.
You can't ask me
I
that.
can
'Cause my
ask.
answer is yes. I know I'm that. I'd never.
When I
follow
say
that.
this, so where did you get the concept of polygamy?
I look within a lot.
Again, where did you get the concept of polygamy? Somebody
Explained it to me and I heard it. Yes.
Exactly.
But there are innate people like I hate
Listen
to get on
to
this
what I'm saying. It's not just about that. You're missing the bigger picture.
Go for it.
When you didn't have all this other stuff, all you had was you and the world around you. If there were no other people that thought like that, it wouldn't even be a part of you. Because everything is shared consciousness. So even if I don't speak to you, I'm going to get that thought from somewhere. It was created.
But somebody had to start it. That's why I definitely agree with you.
That's my point.
I agree with you.
That's my whole point. So you can't say what you would and wouldn't do, but again, to hold on to something saying because they told me I couldn't do. I'm gonna get my little John. Let me see you do it. Hey.
Okay.
Because if you have balance, then you'll do both. So that you truly know what works for you and what doesn't.
Okay.
Right? Anything else is led by the ego. And you only see a little bit of that. That's where you get the identity or the id entity, which is just that little piece of the ego that you see sticking out. Mm-hmm. But when you have to surrender that ego, you be like, oh, no, I ain't doing that. Mm-hmm. So this is where you get balance. A leader would never ask anyone to do something they themselves would never do.
I agree.
And I'll stop it right there. If you want to be a leader, be balanced. And then we can come back and have that conversation.
I like being around coach type people. So
I got
player coach.
Player coach.
Player coach. What is that?
It's just like a leader, but you're also in the game too.
Oh, I got you.
Yes.
Player coach.
Okay.
Like LeBron, pretty much.
what's
He
up.
don't really got a real coach. He delegating the team.
Yeah, how he want to get
But
the
you
ball.
get what I'm saying?
I get what you're saying.
Everybody that brings that up to me, and I'm speaking from a person who I have some Africans in my family, and they tried that, and they were like, what did I get myself into? One of them died, and the women got everything.
All of them. But this is why I feel like even with Solomon, I love all of these women, but I have a last will and
Love is not what you think it is. Love is a chemical that makes you mate.
So let's,
It comes on hard and it dies fast. You said you watched Rick and Morty. He talked about it.
So let's look
because
at
that
that
same
too.
woman, what did she want to do? She wanted to take care of her family. Beth did. But what happened? She got tired and bored and she wanted to go and explore. She said, Dad, am I bad? He said, no, I can make you a clone. And on that one episode, that's how Space Beth came about. That was the one that didn't want to keep raising the family and being the slave
oh,
to
the
the
warrior
family.
Beth, yeah.
So what happened? He made her clone. She bought pizza for her family to say goodbye, and the other, Beth, stepped in and started raising the family until she met with that Beth.
I gotta rewatch that.
It's pretty dope.
season 3, I
And so with that Solomon concept you just ran, right? With the 700 wives, unless he had a will, right, which wasn't really taught. The only will at that point was God's will.
That's it.
So he got 700 wives and concubines. He burns himself out and dies. Those concubines that God was telling him that he didn't really want him to have because they had other religions, if they had got any part of Solomon's kingdom, they were going to take Solomon's kingdom and pervert it in that religious belief, right? This is why he didn't really want him to do it. He allowed him because he loved him. You can have whatever you want. But however, if that had have happened, Solomon dies and all 700 of these, this whole estate gets split up 700 ways, right? Each person gets a piece of Solomon and they take it and they go do whatever they want. That was not God's agenda. That was why he was jealous of the situation. He didn't tell him he couldn't do it, but man, I'm telling you, that ain't good, bro. I just need you to just have one.
Right. So, I got a question for you.
Quality over quantity.
Or at least if you're gonna have multiple, they need to be on the same agenda.
Right. And you got some over here doing their
Yeah.
thing. But my question to you is, it's off topic. Is capitalism a good thing?
It all depends on how you look at it, right? Me personally, I don't believe in any isms.
Okay.
That.
Right? I don't believe in any religions. I believe that everything is one, right? So if everything is considered to be one in my mind, capitalism is good. And so is socialism. And so is all of the other isms. But when you bring them all to one, it's just, now you took the isms off and it's just one, right? So everything has its place and time. It's just, what are you doing with your capitalism, right? Am I going to take that capitalism and make it better for somebody else, or I'm going to just make it better for me, right? So, and that's where you heard with that reset thing, when she was saying that here it is, you got this reset. So now in order for you to be a part of it, you have to have a philanthropic movement. You have to create some movement to help others.
Exactly.
But what if I don't want to help anybody? What if I want it all to myself?
I want to just build my family
I
up.
just want to build my family like everybody else used to do.
Did you know, and now this is going back to law, did you know that there's a law that states if you didn't beat her and take it and she gets
Yep.
pregnant, she can't come and sue you? So where did child
repeat
support
that?
come
I'm sorry,
from?
I'm sorry,
Yeah, yeah.
Repeat.
If you didn't beat her up and take it, if you didn't force her and she agreed to lay down with you and have a baby, you are not supposed to be sued for child support. Did you know that?
I only know that child support is voluntary. But what yours?
But it's not voluntary because
voluntary.
they will take you and they will lock you up. But you're not supposed to be able to go to jail for a debt, are you?
Debtor's
So that
prison.
was a contract you entered into because you didn't have a what? License.
Debtor's prison.
And you didn't have your estate and trust in place, because if you had your estate and trust in place, that woman would have known better than even let you go in that courtroom. And that goes back to polygamy. You're out here being polygamous. You're dealing with multiple personalities.
Yes.
And everybody doesn't think like you do.
The minute you have sex with somebody, that's a marriage contract.
That's right.
That's why the Bible never asked for a certificate of marriage. That's man mind.
And so
The
now-
minute you lay down, so you are a polygamist.
That's right.
I have many husbands if that's the case.
And we shun it, bro. I'm gonna tell you right now, ain't nowhere in the world my girl about to have another man that I don't. That's not happening. Ain't nobody doing to her what I do, right?
But you did what I'm saying, and that's where sacredness and sacred bloodlines also come into play.
That's the marriage.
How are you able to make a Merovingian when you married all of them?
Yep.
And,
Okay.
And what are the effects that come against the child?
The effects that come against a child is a lost child that can be controlled by a system that is set out to control them.
And remember, children are a sales term. So you are a parent A pair of people who are renting
The
your
child.
issue, which is the child, to the system.
Now, let me ask y'all this. Now, there are certain entities, like let's say school, or we can go back to DHS. If they feel like the child is unfit to be in the parent's custody, they can legally, and I use it with quotes, have them come take the child away. How can they do that?
Because of the contracts that you entered unknowingly on the obligational side. Nobody reads, and when they read, they think they're reading English. You're not reading English, you're reading legalese, and you weren't ever ready. You right now, you have to remember that you are just as powerful. If you do believe in Christianity, Christ said one thing, these things and much greater shall ye also do. So that means you have the same power. But somebody, again, has to trick you. Oh, well, you know, if you don't do this, you're going to go to jail.
Yeah.
You don't have the secretaries. You don't have the people with the gavels to make this. That was the whole thing about what? The Wizard of Oz. Don't you come behind this curtain. I am the great and powerful Oz.
Right.
He ain't nobody. He's just a man, just like me and you.
And the
Right.
only person that knew it was the dog. The dog knew everything. He was trying to tell everybody, man, what are you doing?
Toto.
But they didn't understand the dog's language. Toto is Latin for all.
Yeah.
Ah.
Yes.
Right? And so since they didn't know the all language or the Latin language, they didn't know what the fuck Toto was talking
Or
about.
the totality, which is total, and they changed it, which still means what? All of everything.
Everything.
You know, off air, I'm glad we talked about that. We had a conversation about animals and the important effect that they play.
Come on now.
And we were talking about cats. I never told you about it.
No, you never
But
told
I had a situation with cats. I'm not going to go into detail of what happened, but they were right there. They didn't move. And we sat there and looked it up. Cats are a good thing, especially a black cat, because a lot of people got a misinterpretation about what a black cat represents. It don't mean bad luck. I'm telling you, people, that's just something that they put in your mind.
Because God lives within, and so if they can get you to change your God and change your religion, which is to unite with, and get you to unite with something else, then that means you can make that thing powerful. So you just said it right there. Oh, no, that's bad luck. So instead of you seeing an omen that is something powerful, you run from it because you've been taught it's something else. And now you're trading out, you're being a destiny swapper of your own destiny.
Absolutely. And I think, me personally, people don't understand. They think they're stupid. Animals are dumb. But really, they have more spirit than we do.
We're the dumb animal.
I don't have a button. I need a button.
What are you looking for? We got all the buttons.
I need a button. Hold on.
Nigga done fucked up. Right?
We'll use that
That's the
one. We'll use that one. Let's go for that
That was
one.
a plus right
There we go. We'll use that one. But yeah, I mean, because I always been in tune with animals my whole entire life. In fact, I still have vivid dreams of a big ass bear. I told you that.
That's
A big
not a
ass
good
bear. in the
animal
giant
to be near, but okay.
Who says who?
That's not a bear?
Yeah, bear. What's wrong with the bear?
Which bear? A brown bear?
It's just a huge bear.
Okay, all right.
Hey, just a big bear. Hey,
It's your dream. It's your dream. I apologize.
Bears mean something, man. Bears can be a protector.
I mean, it
too.
could be a omen, but I don't know if I would be near one.
But it could be a protector as well.
Okay, go for it.
I mean, you never heard of animals?
I saw The Revenant.
Well, you got. Hey,
But they put it in your mind. So
That they're bad.
y'all
But-
ever
but he
watch
was
Star
messing with the
Wars?
cub.
I mean, no, not Star Wars. What was the other one? Star Trek.
Star Trek.
Star Trek, yeah.
Remember when they killed off a whole planet of melanated beings that were only in touch with everything on their planet? They could communicate telepathically with the animals, the plants, and everything.
How long ago was this episode?
This was when the woman was the pilot.
Somebody, Uhura?
Okay.
This was on the shows,
Oh,
not
the show.
movie.
Oh, the show. Yeah. Well,
So
that's-
now here's the funny part, right? If you watch, there are a million different things on YouTube about people helping animals that they would not normally help. And those animals never forget that, and they come back with their whole brood like, hey, appreciate you. Here's Ronnie, here's Lonnie, There was a black bear who came screaming, the female black bear with her cub, screaming in the middle of the streets, trying to get anybody who would listen. Because her child was trapped inside of a dumpster. Somebody let the animal control people know, and they opened it up, let him out, and then they kept coming back to the people who originally went for the help. They could tell by the scent they went for them, and they were like bringing all the children.
Wow.
Same thing happened with a coyote. These things have been happening.
Do you
Yep.
think it's scenarios
Yes.
like that is
Yes.
how we can domesticate animals, all animals?
That's how animals were domesticated.
They
Once
domesticate
have
us.
Yeah, once they have your trust.
Come on now.
He keep revolving that door.
Once
It
the animal
is.
has your trust,
Yes.
they will do anything you ask it to do.
You know, that word trust is a very powerful
Yes, it
word
is,
because it
definitely.
always comes back to the start of start.
Yes.
Trust. Trust has multiple meanings.
That's right. It has multiple meanings, and just like a squirrel, you feed a squirrel, but before you feed that squirrel, it does not trust you.
Right.
But once it sees that you are not causing it harm and you're actually helping it and its family, that squirrel will come and sit right next to you. Mm-hmm. So you've seen the people in the park with the pigeons, feeding the pigeons.
Right.
They come and sit right on their shoulder. They might crap all over you, but they trust you enough to come down out of their thought to sit with you.
Because I've been told before the word is, animals never turn their back on us.
No,
we
they don't.
turn our back on them.
by destroying their habitats.
Yeah.
Right? You don't think they know who those people are?
Exactly.
I feed cats in my neighborhood, right? All of the food that I know I'm not going to eat, it doesn't make sense to throw it away, feed it to something that's going to eat it. I feed the cats in my neighborhood. Now, they're still a little weary or leery when they see me coming, and they'll run or get out of the way. But for the most part, they know that at certain times of the day and certain weeks, they're going to have a bunch of food out there that they can eat.
Right.
They keep the rodents away. You never know where a hole starts in your house.
That's right.
And that's all a mouse needs. You know, if it can get his ear in there, it can get in there. So, but they'll keep that stuff away from your home just for that kind gesture that you gave to them, right? And they'll bring, like she said, when they have babies, they bring the babies.
Transactions, though. Those are transactions. So
transactions.
everything is transactional. Everything is a service being rendered in exchange for something else.
That's right.
Okay.
Well, now that makes sense because, when you get that feeling, that what they call that warm, bubbly feeling. So that's what that was, a transaction? So you did a good transaction. Hey, you learn something new every
You know
day.
it's a bad transaction. You feel bad as soon as the transaction happens.
Yeah.
You know it.
So that was a bad deal.
I should have never slept with that girl. That's gonna be a problem.
Regret.
I should have never gave him none. That's gonna be a problem.
Regret.
That was a bad transaction.
Yes.
Right. So if you do that, you
Nigga fucked up.
That's right.
it's been a pleasure having y'all here. Y'all broke down a lot of things for me,
Definitely.
and for our viewers because majority don't know this stuff.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? What we talked about. Hey, I didn't. For a long time, I didn't.
Closed-minded people. Or
Yeah.
they just, don't know it. They,
So what's the first thing what you say one have to do if they want to get into this type of knowledge?
Read your Constitution,
Okay.
right? And not only read your federal Constitution, the United States Constitution, but you want to read all 4 of Michigan's Constitution. Each state has more than one Constitution written, and they were written in different times and different dates, right? So, for instance, Michigan has an 1835. They have a 1850, and they have a 1908 and a 1963 Constitution.
Oh yeah, because it went to 65
Right,
afterwards.
and
yeah.
those 4 constitutions were written at certain times of Michigan's evolution, and during those times it said different things, right? But however, the main principles of the United States Constitution are in each one, and that is your first 10 amendments, right? You have a right to bear arms, you have a right to your own beliefs, you have a right to not be forced to give up your liberties, you have a right for these things, you have a right to counsel, you have blah, blah, blah. They all have that, but they changed other things to fit their agenda.
Yes.
okay.
And then those things that they change to fit their agenda are the things they're hoping you follow, and you don't follow the original concepts. So for me, personally, I'm going to read the things that put me into bondage.
That's right.
Constitution put me in bondage, and so did the Bible. So now those are the main concepts that I went to seek and read and understand. Once I understood them, it put me on a different plateau. It made me realize that there's much more to this stuff than you believe. Just like you said, they removed books from the Bible for a purpose. If you knew that there were really aliens, and those were most of the books they removed, you'd lose your mind.
And giants,
Right?
Yeah.
You're looking at the giants in the basketball arenas. Those are giants.
I've been saying
I think
that
those
for a
people
long
taller,
time.
but yeah, I do agree.
I've been
Right?
saying that for the longest.
I mean, Shaq, 7 feet tall, 300 and something pounds. Come on, bro. That's freaking Sasquatch in the water. You feel what I'm saying? That guy, Yao Ming, was 7 something.
Don't even look natural.
Then can you imagine Goliath standing at 9 foot 6 inches tall, walking by your window?
Not
Come
at
on,
all.
that would be it wouldn't be real though. Like,
Not at all.
Dude, look at this guy.
yeah.
Not at all.
And those are the men that came down to sleep with your women. So you better get it in gear.
Ooh.
I would also say, outside of what he's saying, whenever you read those things, get yourself a Black's Law Dictionary. And it seems so tedious, but I promise you, it's so rewarding. Each and every word in your contract, whether it's your lease, whether you are signing something for work, define. If you know what a thing is, you can master it.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Do you have anything else that you'd like to tell our guests?
Study and show thyself approved.
Yes.
Now, did y'all want to pull questions from our fishbowl, or
Yeah,
y'all
that
want
was
to end it here?
so. When I first got here, they
Go ahead.
said this is what we have to do. So we have to pull from the fish bowl.
We all pull a question, we all answer it, and that concludes the
And
show.
Like I
This
said,
is dope.
in.
This
I'ma
is
dig
dope.
in.
like I said,
Now, if y'all don't like
if-
the question,
put it back.
yeah, because it's some all types of stuff.
Y'all pull too, or
Oh, yeah,
we got
we
yeah,
all pull
that's
too.
part of the rule.
and then we have to put a question in.
Yeah, but that's
Yeah.
after. Yeah, I'm gonna go for.
Oh.
All right, let's start down at the end. Enkara.
All right. Mine says everybody fits a label. What are 5 labels that you fit?
I don't know if I can answer that.
I have the label of being a weirdo,
Okay.
and I love it because I don't fit, and I love that. I have the label of being a leader because I question everything, and I don't care if it's somebody I trust. I question their behind too. 3, I have the label of being conscientious because I am always going to study. I'm always going to know what's going on. I'm going to check that information a million times. I'm on 3. 4, I ain't gonna like this one. I fit the label of a warrior. I don't care who gave me the orders, they're subject to get it too. Everybody catch this heat. 5, I am fearless because I'm not afraid to fail, fall, and get back up again and do it again over and over. I love to be adventurous, and that's how I can gain my power.
All right.
Pew.
All right.
What was your question again, so I can answer it? Just the 5 labels that we fit.
Oh, so we each have to answer.
Yeah, we
her
each have
question.
to answer.
Everybody
gotta
everybody's
answer the
question.
same
label.
question.
What are 5 labels that you fit?
Can I go next? Just get out the way.
Yeah.
I think I'll say I'm an oddball too, or weirdo. I don't want to go into depths or reasons, but oddball, weirdo. I'm drama free. I don't like drama. I'm oh shoot, what's the other ones? I am a procrastinator. I'm not gonna lie. I will say that. That's the label I fit. I'm a procrastinator. I'm curious minded also. I like to explore and think, and I question a lot of stuff. And I would just, lastly, I'll say I'm a wallflower. I like to be very observant. I really don't like to talk a lot before I know something or have a point to speak from.
Okay,
Yes.
that's dope.
All right, let's give him a hand clap on that one.
Snaps and claps.
I'll go last, but Mr. Stealth.
Well, I had to write mine down. That's too many concepts to remember. So the 5 things that I'm gonna say that I fit into categories. My categories is that I am, I seek, I knock, I ask, and I create.
All right.
That was dope.
And this is blank. Can you give me another one? No, yeah, this is blank. I don't got nothing on it.
And for myself, me, Mr. AdrianakaAd, number 1, I say the power of being courageous. That's number 1. Number 2, that when it's time to put up or shut up, it's time to put up. It's time,
All
to throw them hands. Number 3, I don't know if this is necessarily what it is, but somehow when I learn something new, to get my confirmation, the universe coming in its own way to tell me that's right. That's exactly where I want you to be. Number 4, I'm on number 4 now. Number 4, if it's something that I don't think I need, somehow I get it because I might need it tomorrow.
Okay, all right.
And number 5, the power to persevere. I know we all been through some things, but I've been through some things in my life that most people wouldn't even stand on, but I have. So persevere. So I give myself a hand clap. Snaps, snaps, snaps.
All right.
So Stealth, I believe you're next to go.
I just did mine.
Did you? No, your question.
No, your
Your question.
I give it a question on air.
Yeah, you know,
No, the question you pulled.
The question you pulled.
Oh, my question. Did I ball the darn thing up?
As long as you can still read it, it's still good.
So my question is, which one of your friends deserves success?
Okay.
That's a good question.
That's deep.
So do I go first?
Yes, you
If
do.
you want, yeah.
Everybody that's sitting next to me, the studio audience, and beyond.
Yes.
Okay.
You got too many
Well,
friends.
that Mr. Rogers right there. That's Mr. Rogers answer. I love
I
it.
like,
friends.
I like that. I like that. Who wants to go next?
Who deserves success? If I could delegate.
No, which one of your friends deserves success?
I'll say this guy. He's a big dreamer.
That's what's up.
All right.
Man,
right.
oh, man.
Snaps and claps.
Where the tissue at? I need to. I'm gonna let.
Infinity and beyond with this.
I'm gonna let Enkara.
Well, for me, I say anybody who shows that they want it,
Okay.
that works toward it, that puts in for it, then you deserve it.
Okay. Okay.
All right.
And for myself, I gotta give credit to my man's right here,
That's
my man
what's up.
Stubblefield.
Oh wow,
Reason
that's
why
reciprocation.
and I gotta give a personal testimony on that. This man right here, when he locks in, he locks in. I
But
mean,
I'm
yeah,
a procrastinator, so you can't do that.
I don't want to hear
That
none
is
of
so
that shit.
beautiful for
I
me
don't-
to see
I
as
don't
a
wanna-
melanated woman between my melanated people. I love that.
I don't want to hear that shit. Hey, this kind. Hey, I don't know where the hell he found this, but I got to give him credit for. Hey,
Oh yeah, I've
this
been
right
looking.
here.
I've been going
Yeah.
around getting stuff.
So I got to give my man right here credit. Ultimate
Thank you.
credit.
Right.
Snaps and claps.
Okay, so we got. I guess it's on me.
It's on you.
You know how the old folks be like, "Sugar, can you read that here? I can't read it."
Now, do these go back in too?
Yeah, for the new question.
for the new question.
If it's this old question, no, we leave
No.
them out.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, for myself, it says right here, how do you determine your value? This is a very good question. I like this question. The reason why I would say the reason why I say how I can determine my value is my energy. Because whenever I walk into a room, I know everybody's not going to see the same value I see, but as long as we get into a certain type of environment where we can float back and forth, and I can put a smile on your face, and you change your negative to positive, that right there shows me that I have good energy, and good energy is hard to come by, and that adds to my value.
That's what's
Let's
up.
get a hand clap for
All
that.
right.
get a hand clap for
Claps
that
and
one.
snaps. Claps and snaps. All right.
All right, who would like to go next?
I'll go next.
All right, Mr.
What
Stealth.
was this? Ask the question again.
Oh, the question right here says, how do you determine your value?
I don't. I let others do it.
Okay.
Okay. Straight to the point.
Very good. Very good.
I determine my value pretty much Erykah Badu.
All right.
She said, if your knowledge were your wealth.
That's
Okay.
Right.
All
So
right.
it's mine is via what I know. I'm always learning and unlearning, and I got a long way to go.
Hey, another hand clap.
All right.
And Enkara?
Turn.
Honestly, I judge my value by what it is that I produce. And when I say what I produce, the things and the people that I'm around and how those things blossom or fall.
Okay.
All right. All right.
Dude, got a question? Did everybody?
Yep.
Yep.
Okay, my question, I don't really like it, but it says, who is the most irritating person you know?
Oh, wow.
Oh.
And I'm just going to say stagnant people. I'll leave it at that. People who just, you ask them how they doing. It's the same story 5-10 years in a row. You didn't do anything different, try anything. So just people who aren't growing, stagnant people.
Does that deserve a hand clap?
That deserves
It does.
a hand
Okay.
clap.
Clap,
Lead a
clap.
bottle of beer. Can I go next?
Yes, you can.
I don't like stagnant people either.
Honestly, I'm going to say this is going to sound so crazy, right? The most irritating person I know is me.
Wow.
Because I'm my own worst enemy. I'm the only one who stands in my way. I am my biggest and greatest adversary.
You're a straw man or you? I'm just-
Both. No, but me, really. Me. The fear that I would hold and I can't let go of it,
Oh.
I irritate myself.
But is that your id? Because it's an id, ego, and super ego.
It's all of them. Because at some point in time, those things can go rogue inside of a person.
You have to be able to tell the difference and silence or do your best to get rid of that
So,
one.
but that's my point. For it to come to me in the first place, it had to be given to me by me. I had to accept it somewhere within myself to bring it to, man, but what if you can't do it?
Have you ever seen a movie called Revolver?
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah,
I'll leave it
dope.
at that.
Yes.
Hey, before you continue, let me just give a hand clap here. And I guess I'll be the last one. Besides, I like your answer. I really do. But besides that, everybody I talk to on my goddamn YouTube, y'all get on my goddamn nerves. All of you. All of you get on my nerves. If I had to pick one, it'd be a liar. I hate you lying ass people. Y'all get on my damn nerves. You're not telling the damn truth.
Calm down, man.
Sorry.
A lot of heat. A lot of heat.
Oh, Larry the cheese.
People. Some people make me madder than others, but
Yeah.
I'm working on it. I'm working on it.
And I asked that the church help me pray and so I go strong in the Lord.
I'm still working on myself. Yeah. So I'm glad we had this intellectual conversation.
Amazing.
It was. Hey, we got to have y'all back here whenever.
Whenever. We'll figure out something.
We'll figure out
We'll
something.
figure
You know
out
what I mean? It was an easy process having you guys here. Anything else anybody would like to say? Anybody else like to plug anything in?
Yeah, let's plug stuff. We just started an Instagram, a TikTok, and what else? Twitter. Well,
Twitter.
X.
We don't have a Facebook yet, but we're working on it.
Yeah.
Can we get that information? Can you send that to
Yes,
us?
please. Yes, we will. Yes, we will.
Awesome.
We definitely will.
And plug anything I want to plug.
All right, cool. All right.
Yeah. Anything else
So
that you want to promote?
So for us, if you look further to get more information, Nation of the Creator is available.
Okay.
Nation of the Creator is a 508c1a that offers enlightenment on estates and trust. We can be located right now at this time at 15400 Grand River Avenue in Detroit, Michigan, 48221. We're on the 3rd floor. You just ask about it, somebody will know. Also, Morestealth Consulting LLC is a paralegal organization that helps people with a lot of legal document preparation. So if you are having some issues and you want to know more about estates and trust, they have estate planning and they help with child support, divorce, bankruptcies, pretty much
Everything.
probate court, probate law.
Everything. Tickets, all that.
Tickets, you got tickets, we can help you. So whatever you got going on in your life, they can they'll be more than available to help.
Okay.
And we're located at the Advanced building at this time, and that is
Suite 455.
455 23077 Greenfield.
I like that building actually.
Yeah.
I like it.
Okay.
My mom used to work in that building back in the day. Way back in the day.
Yep.
What about you, Enkara? You have anything you want to?
The only person that I could actually plug is an awesome, wonderful nutritionist, dietitian. Her name is Seisha Nix, and she goes by Nutri Bae.
Nutri Bae.
Nutribae. She makes smoothies. She makes juices. She makes smoothie bowls now. And she can actually help you if you have dietary needs. She can come and she will counsel you, tell you what you need to do to get yourself together. And when I tell you amazing, absolutely amazing.
And where
Does she work on detox? Okay.
Where might she be located?
She has a kitchen and it's in Southfield, but you can call her because she's kind of mobile.
Oh, is she off of Greenfield? Okay, I thought I might have.
Are you
drove
willing to?
past.
Does she have a social media or?
So yes, you would go to Nutri Bae Smoothies. You can find her on TikTok as Nutri Bae and on Facebook as Nutri Bae, and I believe also on Instagram.
And you may want to spell that out.
Hey, yeah, I'll try to have it all in the description.
Nutribae, and it's a little heart with a plant coming up out.
Can you
of
spell
it.
it one more time? I stepped on you and you.
No, it's okay. Nutribae, Nutri Bae.
Got you. Okay.
Yep.
We got that down. Make sure y'all go check that out, whatever your dietary needs are. And of course, you know me, AdrianakaAd. I'm right here on YouTube. New video here every Sunday, talking about everybody that pissed me off and also good things too. So I'm not just talking about people I don't like. But yeah, check me out, comedy every Sunday. And also, don't forget to check out my reels too. Constantly growing on there. So
Constantly.
So make sure you check that out. So we got everything?
We got everything.
Yeah.
Okay, we are happy to have our guests here. Let's give it up for them. We will have them back in the near future. So until next time, come on, Stubbs.
I'm Stubbs.
Come on, man. Come on.
I said I'm Stubbs.
Put your voice into it.
I'm Stubbs. That's all I'm saying.
I am Stubbs. That's it. And I'm your boy, AdrianakaAd. And this has been the TakeOff Podcast. We out of here.
Peace.